Okay, the pies are baking. They're baking. The unscented cookies are cooking. We should probably get some scented cookie spraying. Oh, God. I'm spraying it everywhere. Oh, God. Oh, God. Hello there. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the 2023 Preview Show. My name is Ryan, and I will be your host for tonight. I'm so excited for you to be here. This is so exciting for me because, one, this is, of course, the biggest shit show night in podcasting year that happens. And two, we get to earn our trophy, like we do every year, of the pop culture talkie about people that talk about the previous year as late as possible. No one ever does it as late as us. People try to do it earlier. I saw some motherfuckers try to do it in like November before Thanksgiving. No, you put up we're talking about the end of the year decorations after Thanksgiving. I'm so excited for this. We have 3 hosts of 3 future shows in cages right now. Caged up. They have muzzles on. They have handcuffs. They are frothing at the mouth. But I'm not going to go to them. I am going to go to my co-host. Ladies and gentlemen in the studio audience, please welcome Caitlin. Hey, Caitlin.
Hi, Ryan.
Oh my God, how are you?
I'm doing so good. I'm just chocked full of all this 2023 now.
When you say chock full, you have eaten an entire box of chalk today.
Exactly. I have to consume a piece of chalk for each month. And then, I like to sometimes break up my chalk into days, but always eat it all at once because I'm just a chalk.
Is this
girl.
a Joe Rogan thing?
Yep.
He told you to do this. Okay, cool.
He told me, and I love that podcast and him for sure.
I as well as a podcaster love that podcast and him. Caitlin, this is the preview show where we preview all of our 2023 looking back on shows. Unfortunately, we did have to release one 2023 show before the preview show. That was the Oscar draft. That was hosted by Cassie. You were on that show. Was that your first Oscar draft?
I believe it was. If I did do it, it was so long ago that I don't remember it.
If you did do it.
If I did, but no one can hold me to it because I can't
You were
remember.
fucked up on, you had filled a cup of yogurt with chalk and shrooms. And so that is how you did that show. Do you remember any of your picks?
The Killers of Flower Moon.
The Killers of the Flower Moon. The John Woo assassin movie.
Can
Nope. Can I tell you
that's all I
what
remember.
other horrifying topics you picked?
Yeah, let's
the
do
Holocaust. The time where a plane crashed in the Andes and cannibalism. And the French Revolution.
Oh, yeah, Napoleon, my short dude.
I think that you wanted to pick Neapolitan. You thought there was a great war between chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, and you just picked the wrong movie.
Yes.
But overall, the Oscar draft, which is already out now in the feed, tell people why to listen to that.
Why? Well, because you get to find out all about all these movies that came out in 2023 because there's a lot of them. And not only that, we tell you a little bit about them, and then you get to see, how smart are these people? How much do you think that McKenna is going to beat Ryan again this year?
What the fuck?
And how will Ryan react? Because that is the true reason why you got to listen to this Oscar show, just to see people
Caitlin,
crumble.
my agent arm wrestled your agent, and your agent lost. And in that defeat, you were supposed to not bring that up.
Interesting.
It's
I actually arm wrestled my agent after that, and then broke her arm, and it was just wild, and there was blood and stuff. So I didn't really get that.
Is it possible she threw that just so you could win? And if so, hell of an agent that would just shoot her bone out of her arm and shoot blood out of everywhere.
I got a really good agent, Ryan.
Apparently.
That's why I'm here.
Coming out way in the future, February 1st is the Century of the Year. Caitlin, how did that go this year?
Century of the Year, fantastic. 100 minutes of the year 2023. Man, there was a lot of things that happened. and we talk about every single one of them.
Yeah, we do 1 minute for every minute that happened in the year. It is a real-time show, so it did take 1 year to record.
Yep.
You've got on that show, you've got your Gregs, your McKennas, your Cassies, your Mikes, your Caitlins. Who do you think won that show?
Who won? I would have to say there was someone screaming in the background. I believe their name was Erica. And I do think that was the person who won.
Erica won.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And then before we get into all of this battle of the Elite Eights, we have one more show, and that is, Caitlin, your show that we want to preview.
Yep.
This drops on February 15th. This is the 2023 mixtape. You are the curator of the all of us coming together to make this mixtape.
Mm-hmm. And I go ahead, Ryan.
It's important that I guess when I'm constantly asking you questions, you get a chance to talk.
I'm excited for the mixtape to come out. Mostly because I Must Come Again. I killed it 1 year bringing the California Raisins, and I really need to go back to that. And I think that's why I was nominated as host for mixtape, obviously, because of the Raisins. And this is the most fun of the booties, because we bring all of our favorite single music, just a music.
One single music, please.
One single music called a song. I don't know if you've heard of them before. You bring a song and we put it all together in a mixtape and we throw it into your ears, and it's like we're romanticizing your little ears with our mixtape. And it's a little love letter to you, and it is a little bit of chaos from us.
Well, thank you, AI, doing your best impression of Caitlin. Caitlin, do you think you are a great friend and an incredible podcaster? Do you think the reason that you're hosting mixtape is because you brought up the California Raisins one time in the past?
Absolutely.
What the fuck?
That and Bowling for Soup in 1985.
You brought them up in 1985. That is actually impressive that you did that.
Yep.
So those are all of the shows that you and I are hosting, aside from horror and films. But we have to talk about music, album of the year, TV comedy, TV drama. Caitlin, we're going to eliminate so many incredible artists tonight. Are you ready to do that?
I'm ready to off all of them.
You have.
I've never been more ready in my life to off half the people on this list.
You have a
right
machete
now.
in your hand and you keep cutting your tongue.
Yeah. I thought we were going to go through a forest, but instead we're going through some albums, some movies, some TV shows. Like, I'm fucking ready.
They're hanging
Ryan.
from vines, but we're cutting them. We're definitely cutting them. All right, Caitlin, which of these three caged monsters would you like to introduce first? Go ahead.
McKenna, a.k.a. Books.
Hello, McKenna.
Hey, I'm glad to finally have this muzzle off. Feels good.
Okay, so you said you had something very important to say, and that is who actually killed JFK?
Yeah, it's come out that it was actually one of Caitlin's ancestors. There's just a murderous rage in all of her.
It was my grandfather.
I was actually going to say, since we've learned Caitlin can time travel, I'm now really suspicious that it's her. I'm getting a lot of revelations here. She time traveled to 1985. She could have time traveled and gone back.
Mac, in your segment, you're hosting TV drama this year, and so you're going to do the culling of TV drama tonight. You have a proxy voter, and that is Mike, who will be filling in for Cassie, dressed as Cassie. What worries you more, his voting as Cassie or his costume of Cassie?
You know, his costume of Cassie, he nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the flannel. He's got the tee. He's really working. And since he did so well in the costume, I feel like the voting, I don't know if Mike's going to gravitate towards the vroom vroom cars as much as Cassie. And that is a bit disappointing.
Man, we have really taken our three-dimensional friend that we love and really tuned her down to one thing, haven't we?
That's it.
All right, Caitlin, who's getting introduced next?
Opening the cage of Greg.
Hey, it's Greg. That is the longest on any of these podcasts I've ever been quiet, and I think the longest time in my life I have ever just sat there and not talked.
I cannot believe it. And Greg, we are giving you, as an award, this pillow that is written on this pillow is nothing. It's just a plain ass pillow.
Just, you know what? That's fine. That's
Yeah.
okay. I don't need my pillows to always come with a message. Live, laugh, love. I remember that. I'm always carrying that in my heart.
Fuck,
be
marry,
around.
kill, live, laugh, love, Greg, right now.
Okay. Marry, laugh. You gotta love laugh. Fuck love, and kill life.
Kill life. Oh, God.
I'm just, you know, I'm not a big life guy. I never
No.
have.
Spoken like a true Nine Inch Nails fan over here. All right, Caitlin, spin the wheel one last time, but we all know where it's going to land.
It's on Mike.
Coming out of my cage, and I'll be doing just fine. That's right. It's Mike. How you guys doing? How's everybody feeling tonight?
We're good, Mr. Stripper DJ. Thank you for asking us how we're doing since you're last to come out. We're all good. Mike, what are you hosting tonight?
I'm hosting music, which is, I tried to do a little tease, a little foreshadowing. That's why I opened up with a song that did not come out in 2023.
Pretty close, though, I'm assuming.
Probably.
It
It's
seems like a
probably
recent
the
one,
last
yeah.
Real
couple
recent.
years.
What does this song have in common with itself? It did not come out in 2023. That's trivia.
This song can legally drink in bars.
That's not true, is it?
I think
I think
so.
that's true.
Every time anybody tells
true.
you any fact about any pop culture that has to do with the past, you have to be like, no, shut up.
Get out.
How dare you say that to me?
That kid from The Sixth Sense, he's an adult now. Oh, no way. Gross. Get out of here.
That dog from The Sixth Sense, he's dead now.
Sorry,
All right,
I got
Mike.
excited.
Since music is the best
Yeah, it is.
art,
And we know how to talk about it the best.
and we know how to talk about it the best, we're going to go to you first. Mike, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
All right, get back in your cage, and you are just doing just fine. When we come back, we're going to cut 8 of the 16 best albums of the year. 2016, what a year for music. We'll see about 2023 right now. Mike, we have 16 albums culled down from, what do you think, 1,067?
1067 is the list I listened to this year.
When I think music, I think 1,067 because of 106.7, the world famous
Yes.
K-Rock.
The
where I
only
grew up.
radio station worth listening to. That's world famous K-Rock.
I think it's ridiculous to cut this down to 16, but Mike, you want to cut it down to 8. I guess I have no choice because I know nothing about music. Notes are something that I passed in class, not something that I played on my clarinet. So I'm going to hand it over to you, bud. Go for it.
Or things you can carry. Thank you, Ryan. Before we jump in, we already are going to, we have the 16 albums in front of us, and we're already going to start switching this up.
Mike, real quick.
Yes?
You said we have the 16 albums in front of us. I assume that you guys have them on CD or Spotify. I have them on vinyl.
Good. Okay. Got the vinyl quota on. We will be switching out some of these albums if we wish to. The albums that are up on the chopping block are Blur, The Ballad of Darren, SZA, SOS, JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown, Scaring the Hose, Anthony and the Johnsons, My Back Was a Bridge, Jessie Ware, That Feels Good, and Amaray's Fountain Baby. I have derived and designed an algorithm that creates the order that we are allowed to remove and let everybody know that if your album, you're like, who's not here? I'm Cassie, and I want to take out Blur. The next person can take out your album, you stupid bitch.
And put Blur
Sorry,
back
that
in.
was harsh. I would never say it to Cassie in a face.
Goodness
It's wrong.
gracious.
The minute I said it. That was the first time. I had all of that written down word for word until that moment, and the minute I had a riff, it got terrible. This is why they don't let me go off book. All right, so, Caitlin, my friend,
Yes.
you are the first to be able to take out one of those albums and replace
Wow.
it with a new.
Whew. Okay, I'm gonna start by taking out SZA.
Bold
What?
move,
Oh.
bestie.
I feel like this is hard no matter what, but I'm gonna take out SZA. I feel like someone might put it back on.
Now, Mike, do you want to go through your speech real quick before she does this?
Defending SZA?
Or no, offending SZA?
Offending SZA? Well, I mean, technically it did. The reason it's stupid for people to make lists in November, SZA came out in December 2022. And so some people would argue she shouldn't belong on this list at all. But she wasn't on last year's list because everybody fucked up so hard. So we can't just ignore one of the best albums that came out in the last couple of years. So I've really come around on this since I text ranted Ryan a few months ago when I saw she was on the list.
Oh, and listeners, if you're ever dealing with something, text rant me for 5 minutes, and it's gonna help your relationship
Clarity.
so much.
My therapist said stop calling him and just text Ryan. So, Caitlin, you're removing SZA and putting
Yes.
something subpar there instead. What is that?
Well, Mike, the reason I wanted to take out SZA was for the very exact reason that you were saying. I looked up this album because I was like, there's no way this came out this year, which it always feels like that with these things, especially if they come out in January. But this one totally came out in 2022.
Yes.
And this album's long. There are some really great songs on here, but I feel like there's one that we could put on here that I would really like, which is 100 gecs, 10,000 gecs.
Hell yeah.
Put
Good
all
thing
them
you
gecs
got that
on
on
there.
there. Nobody else in this group would have put that anywhere.
Yeah, we are
Well-
all now crossing 100 gecs off
Off of our
list.
lists.
Well, someone had to do it, and I am wearing that cape. Thank you.
Not all heroes wear capes, and you're not a hero. Thank you, Caitlin. Next up is Greg.
Okay, this is hard, and so normally I wouldn't do it, but I'm going to. Now is not the time of Blur. I'm going to remove Blur from the list, and I'm going to put SZA back
Nice.
on it. The album is too long. SZA's album is too long. There is such thing as too much of a good thing, but the peaks are very high on this album, and she's so pretty.
What
And
was
it's not even Darren's best album that came out this year, so Blur can kick rocks, right?
Whoa, hold on, Mike. Explain.
Oh, also in around January, February 2023, Gorillaz came out with an album that is not going to be talked about other than me right now. And so unless somebody else loved Cracker Island, which I get it. That is not an island you want to go to hearing that name. But
Hold
that
on.
album rules.
Hold on. First of all, I have to add SZA back to the bracket. Mike, you have to vamp a little bit because we have technical issues here.
Oh, I can keep vamp. Cracker Island is
No, about
So-
SZA.
oh. Wait, what? We already talked about SZA a whole bunch.
Just talk about SZA real quick.
SZA
And
is-
Mike, now we're ready to talk about Gorillaz.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm so glad I was told I'm allowed to actually host a segment and learning quite quickly how much of a lie that was. Mac, you're up next.
Fuck. I feel like there was more talking to be had. I'm relieved I'm in the middle because someone can correct if they think I made a mistake. Then they can put SZA
What a
back
confident group.
on. Yeah. No, I'm not lacking confidence. I'm just aware of my own bias, and I know that I'm just bringing this up because I have a bias.
Is this a Taylor's version? Is this a Taylor's version?
It's the Taylor's version.
Oh, shit. Is this legal?
1989 T Swift version on there. It came out in 2023. We got new songs. Is that not legal?
Oh, no, I mean, like,
It came out.
who's
The versions
it
are
replacing?
so different sometimes. That
Yeah.
Yes. And some of them are so not. But if you veto this, it does mean you're on that dirtbag producer side.
And do you guys hear, like, sometimes in the middle of the song, she's like, I'm T Swift, and I'm here to say I love Ryan from Pop Filter in a major way.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That set the Swifties on fire. Mac, who are you replacing with this actually 12-year-old album?
See, I know my bias. I
Shade.
recognize my bias, and I'm okay with it. This is where I'm stuck, and this is why it's on Ryan to correct my mistakes if I fuck up. But I'm gonna go with Anthony
the
and
Blue
the
albums.
Johnsons. My
Oh,
black
you
is Anchorage.
motherfucker. Are you serious? I mean, that's one that you can replace. You just should not have.
Sounds like that might have been the wrong one.
The
then,
wrong
but-
one? Yes,
yeah.
yeah, I
Hey.
could have gone with JPEG Mafia, but
Here's the
was
thing. Ryan
hesitating
would have
on
said,
that one.
oh my God, are you serious? No matter who you replace.
yeah, I think there was going to be a reaction no matter what. So
The truth is, when you
Again.
get down to like 16 albums, they're all pretty good.
that's the thing.
there's not-
there's not a
there's not
bad,
a bad
one
one.
here.
Well, we'll see. Because, Ryan, now it is your turn. Are you going to, as she said, correct her mistake? Which is
I
weird
understand
for
my
McKenna to
bias.
quote her own vows on a podcast episode.
Is that weird? That feels like the most McKenna thing of all time. I kind of want to kick out 100 Gex because fuck this group.
Wait, the group 100 Gex or the group of people you're sitting around a table with right now?
The,
who
the
love
group I'm
100
sitting around
Gex?
the table with. Like, the album was good, but is it Sweet 16 good?
I think so.
I could definitely kick out Taylor Swift, but I don't want to go against Taylor Swift's opponent. That's a good ass album.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it
here's
is.
what I'm going to do. I am going to. Oh my goodness. I am going to talk myself through it, and I am going to go and I'm going to kick out Taylor Swift.
Oh, wow. Swifties will uprise.
For a different Taylor's version album that came out this year.
And it's from a
For a
Taylor's
midlife
version
album.
from
I didn't say
2011. And I'm going to do. I don't know why this isn't on the list. It confuses me to this day. It is a previous
California Raisins.
winner.
Heard it through the grapevine.
The reason Caitlin is on the show right now. This is our inaugural Best Album Award winner. The Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe is only 32 minutes, but is a spectacular album and just did not get enough credit. And
You
Taylor,
think it came out so long ago? That was a real early 2023. Did people just sort of forget?
no, I just think that it didn't compare to Dirty Computer.
It's not as good as Dirty Computer, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's
But that doesn't mean it's bad.
bad. Yeah.
I would
How
argue
many
that we've got
albums
a
have been
few
as good
second albums here that are not as good as the originals.
You
Or
know
the
what? Why are
first
we
or
doing this
previous.
show? Dirty Computer wins once again
Fuck
for
yes.
2023. It was not controversial at all the year it came out. Everybody loved it. Nobody had a problem with her frank sexuality.
No one. No one at all.
To this day, I still tell people that it's like one of my all-time favorite albums.
Every time
So
I
fucking
listen to the
good.
album and she's like, I want to lick myself in your pussy, I think about Caitlin being like, no, I don't like it.
Caitlin being
I don't
at
like
work,
any of this.
I
trying to
always
sign for a
wonder-
delivery.
If pink is no longer as much of a favorite color for Caitlin simply because of that song.
Look at her pop filter.
Did you guys know that pink means pussy sometimes? I'd never heard that before. But then Janelle Monáe made that happen.
But Mike, I do have to say that as much as I'm glad that she's on there for now,
Yes.
not getting SZA back on there hurts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait,
It
SZA
does
is
hurt.
on there.
No,
No.
SZA's on there, though.
Oh wait,
So it doesn't hurt.
Okay.
She's number 16 seed now, Ryan.
Right.
And now it is my turn. And it was a fine album. Anytime of these 16, the one I forget the most is Amare's Fountain Baby. And there's a little too much dolphin sound sometimes in the singing for me, honestly.
But I love the Dolphins.
was that the album that was rated?
Yeah. Just never at 7 a.m. walk your dog and throw on this. It's too early for that high note. And I'm going to replace it with one of my favorite albums this year that I think needs to be talked about more. And it's very on brand for me. And I'm going to say of this group, it's Meet Me at the Altar's Past, Present, Future. If you're like, why aren't more bands sounding exactly like 2000s pop punk? Meet Me at the Altar, this wonderful trio has got your back. This album rules. And if you're like, I want a Yellow Card song, they got it. I want an Old Good Charlotte song, they got it. I want an MXPX song, they got it. They really do feel like they went through the old catalog and just went, we'll write a version of ours. And it's great. And
Tough
I'm seeing
opponent,
them in a
Mike,
couple
but I'm
weeks.
glad that they're there. I'm glad to see them on there.
And for me, for the replacement, I never think I'm going to make it into the actual things people listen to. It's just what's the platform I want to let everybody
yeah.
know about.
Not for me, man. I want those.
Which your
fucking
pitch
points.
has me already saving it on my Spotify as we.
They're so
See?
fucking fun.
So I'm so excited. Thank you.
You will love them.
I-
Derogatory. So we have our 16. Should we take the quickest of breaks and we come back, start fighting? Yes, we should. Thanks, Mike. Before we move on to the bloodiest of battles to determine the 8 albums we will listen to that it could actually become Album of the Year, let's talk about the fallen soldiers who still deserve to be mentioned. Caton, do you have an honorable mention?
I do, Mike. And thank you for throwing to me in the snowstorm right now. There is an album that I don't think would have gone far on this, only because it's a movie album, and I don't feel like those do well. And it's gonna be Barbie the movie
Ooh,
album.
that's a good
that is a
soundtrack.
good
That
one.
would have
That
done
is a good
great.
soundtrack.
Oh
That's a
God,
dope
it's so good.
soundtrack.
I just feel like those get shit on so much, but Barbie.
Who?
The album,
What monsters are you hanging out with?
Yeah.
We like movie soundtracks here.
Well,
Wait, hold on.
you
What
guys
did Caitlin
didn't-
put in?
She put in
Gex?
some Gex. Yeah, I was gonna say some bullshit, but I like the Gex. But the Gex are gone, aren't they?
I
somebody
bet
put them
you
back.
Barbie will go farther than the Gex.
Well,
Wow.
We'll never know.
Oh, wow. Well, maybe I made an oopsie. Maybe someone else here made an oopsie. But no, Barbie's just fun. It's a poppy anthem, and I love it. It's one that I played over and over and over again throughout the year
What Am
before
I
watching the
Made For?
movie.
Oh.
Yeah, What Am I Made For? If you want to fucking cry your heart out, you can listen to that. If you want a jam anthem, you can. There's just so many great songs on that album.
I'm just
So-
Ken.
I'm just Ken. It's a great one. What was it? People Choice winner.
No, it won the other one.
People
Critics'
never
Choice.
choose wrong.
People
yeah.
Choice winner. I love it.
Critics' Choice. But yeah, no, Barbie the album. It's one that needs to be mentioned.
Greg.
I'm going
You're
to
up.
go with an artist that I never hear anybody else talk about, but I always get so excited by, and she came out with an album this year, Ash Nico. The album is Weed Killer, and she is just a very, very distinctive, very unusual recording artist, and it has a lot of high energy music that I like to listen to when I'm on the old elliptical machine. Ash Nico,
Wow.
check her out.
Short and sweet. Check her out. McKenna.
All right, so I'm going to go
Yours.
with one. It's an album that I liked. It's not an album that I would sit and listen to all at once. I love the artist, but I would not pitch it for this because I think it's like an hour and a half runtime. It is insanely
Ew.
long, which is the ew factor, but it is by Christine and the Queens. It's Paranoia, Angels, and True Love.
What? I didn't even know they had one come out.
They
this year.
had one come out.
It's so
I
crazy
didn't
that
know.
they would release an album that was such a critical hit. That last one, and then this one was just like nothing.
Nothing. It didn't get buzz.
Wow.
I still think it's good. It's not as good as their last one, but it's weighed down by how fucking long it is. But if you break it up,
Yeah.
there's some good.
Episodes.
Yeah. So Paranoia, Angels, True Love.
Right, guy?
My obvious number one, I'm gonna save for Mike because he's been screaming it out under his breath
No, you can do
this
it.
entire segment. So I'll do three very Ryan ones that I thought
Three.
had a chance, but didn't make it. Paramore's "This Is Why," Foo Fighters, "But Here We Are," and Blink-182's "One More Time." We're all just so average, man. Why can't my bands make good albums?
Hey, no, Paramore, I think This Is Why was a great album. It brought the best part of modern Paramore and Haley's solo stuff.
Some critics said it was Para-less.
Ryan, are you a critic now?
Some critics are less.
Yes. But Mike, let's talk about it. Because I thought this album should be on a bit higher than the Blur album.
Yeah, certainly higher than the Blur album. Gorillaz Cracker Island is, I think, one of the best Gorillaz outfits to ever come out. It was so fun and groovy and oh yeah, this is why I care about a cartoon band.
Not since the Archies.
Not since the Archies. You know what? Unpopular opinion, I think the Gorillaz might be better than the Archies.
Okay. Send your emails to mike@popfilter.co.
I would watch a gritty CW reboot about the Gorillaz characters.
Mike, you know why No Buzz
Why?
came out February 2023?
Came out fucking February.
You have to be releasing this stuff
Yeah.
November.
Yeah, so we remember it happened. Another one that came out in February and is one of my favorite bands' last album because they broke up, which is a fucking bummer, is the Screaming Females' Desire Pathway. Go check it out if you like heavy, chunky guitars and an awesome yowling front person. Screaming Females rules. Rest in power.
Also, if we're going to be if you guys want to keep talking, and I didn't ask you to do this, but you seem like you want to keep talking about full Ryan bands, with Foo Fighters, with Fall Out Boy, who had an album this year, with Rancid, who had an album this year.
Ew, Rancid did?
All great albums. It's just like, how do you make the top 16 when your album that you had this year, although good, sounds exactly the same as your last 24 albums?
Yeah, that does make it rough. It's so crazy, Ryan, that you're like, I have 3 honorable mentions. You thought for a minute that wasn't enough. I should talk more about it.
It's so
Let's-
crazy that you think that's crazy.
I know. I should be used to this by now. Let's get into it, folks. Your round 1, battle 1, seed 1, Boy Genius, called The Record, which, little highfalutin, ladies, versus your 16th seed, SZA, SOS. Caitlin,
Yes.
how are we doing in these sweet, sweet harmonies?
Wow. Are we just straight cutting right now?
We're straight
Let's
cutting
do
'cause
it.
this is not the real show.
Wow. Okay, let's go for. I'm gonna cut Boy Genius.
What is your
You can
problem?
do that?
Now maybe don't just say that. Maybe have a sentence of why you would do that.
You ruthlessly took out SZA, and now you're cutting Boy Genius.
I
What? No, I
said
think if you're trying to shoot the number one seed in the head as if you were some sort of Caitlyn's ancestor shooting JFK, I think you do have to give us a sentence or two.
I'm sorry. I came with a machete and I came hard. Boy Genius. The record. It was. I feel like SZA was a lot more poppy, more fun. Boy Genius. It was a lot of artists all coming together, and I don't know. It was kind of a snore for me. Yeah, I know. They're coming at the number one seed like that.
Do you call, and we're all allowed to have our own opinions, some just make me mad. Do you call any band, like, they are a band, that Boy Genius has a distinct sound that is a little different than Lucy and Phoebe and Julian's own sound. So just be like, there are a bunch of artists come together.
To be fair to Caitlin, SZA is the first half of Caitlin's favorite restaurant.
It is true. I do love myself, the Sizzler.
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 I don't know because when when you pull up an album and it's like Boy Genius, Phoebe Bridgers, and then like 5 other artists, and they're
It's
all
not
like,
5 others, just 2 more.
Okay, they all
Julian
have
Greg
Baker,
has
Lucy
his
Dacus.
dress in his hands.
I'm
Okay.
just keep saying their names.
It's just it I don't know. It seemed like this could have been a Phoebe Bridgers album. This could have been someone else's. Like it didn't seem like I don't know. I wasn't a fan.
Which you also would have voted against because it's not
clearly-
poppy and dancey.
Yeah, clearly why I came with my machete to knock it out. But clearly everyone else has another opinion other than mine.
No, it's just who you don't even know where I'm going to vote. Who knows?
I vote for Barbie.
Greg.
I was super impressed with this SZA album. She has a lot of different sounds. Like you can't really hem her in. I think like there's a song she has on this that straight up sounds like a country song to me, which I always complain about, but I actually liked on this album. It's too long, and Boy Genius is like basically a perfect album. We rarely get albums with lyrics like these. It's like a band by A24 or something, and so I definitely think it's Boy Genius the record.
And how many journals are like tear covered in this tour bus when they're writing lyrics? Like that's what it all is.
Someone made a joke when this album came out, like, be gentle with your baristas over the next week because they're really going through a lot.
Well, I think that's what makes this group stand out is these are 3 of the funniest working musicians out there who make heartbreaking songs all the time. But I think that's why they stay sane is because they are.
They get their
Isn't that like
sadness out.
such an important trait to like know when to be earnest and know when to not? You know?
To be earnest and when to go to camp.
Like, yeah, when it's time to go to prison or when it's time to like save Christmas, you be earnest.
There is an awesome interview with Phoebe Bridgers, who she works with Connor Oberst of Bright Eyes a lot, and she's like, I love him, but man, does that guy suck. Like, he's a great musician, but if you make a joke, he'll stare daggers at you so hard. And that's the difference is you can make sad music and be delightful.
I can't imagine hanging out with Connor Oberst from Bright Eyes. That sounds awful.
McKenna, your vote.
Yeah, similar to Greg. I love SZA. I think this is a really good album. Boy Genius is just... I listened to it and I was like, this is like, I just want to do like the chef's kiss emoji. Like, I just feel so satisfied deeply inside with this album. It does explain I have a very different music taste than Caitlin, so I do get why it didn't vibe with her and it vibed so much with me. But yeah.
We both love Taylor Swift.
We do.
I thought we were going to vibe right now.
To me, this vibes with some of T Swift. So that's where we're a little different. It just the songwriting, the music, everything. It's Boy Genius.
Right, guy?
This is album is not too long. It has too many songs, but the songs are actually very short.
Yes.
She is constantly called a rapper. I don't know if she raps at all. I just think that people see that like, oh, she's black, therefore. But no, that's not true at all.
She's like neo R&B, if we have to pin her down to anything.
I think that these are the 2 best albums of the year.
Wow.
And so to not make my life difficult, I will go with SZA.
Ooh, it's up to me. I love both of these albums. SZA was great, and all the genres are great. I would not call any of the genres rap. I think she does so much. But we like are defining. And if I have to pick, it's one came out in the year, one didn't at all. So my vote
come
is for
on.
Boy Genius.
You fucking dork.
Got that vote.
What a stinker! What a stinker!
But also if SZA came out in 2023, I'd still vote for Boy Genius. That is what is moving on. Your next battle is Billy Woods and Kenny Segal, Maps versus Lankum's False Lankum. Ryan, can you give the briefest of descriptions of both of these albums? Briefest.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
Briefest.
Briefest. and yet you go to me.
That's true.
Billy Woods and Kenny Segal's Maps is a nice little here we go. Let's do some songs that sort of pull from everything. You know, like we're gonna do all genres and we're gonna have all samples. And like the songs are short, which I think we like. The album is short, which I think we like. But like you can feel all grooves and sounds from all time. Lankum.
It's a hip hop album. I think you should say that at least.
But mostly hip hop. But like you feel the 70s in it, the 80s in it, the 90s, and the is there a 2000s and the 2010s and then the 2020s. Let's say 70s, 80s, 90s, 2020s. And then Lankum's False Lankum is something that like is very weird to me because we've been doing this for a long time, and I don't know how many pure Irish, capital P, capital I, pure Irish albums have been released, and yet this one is the 9th seed. Very hard for me to review, even though that I am a diehard, as you guys call it, tater eater. It sent me through some. Caitlin, laugh away from the mic. Jesus Christ! It sent me through some journeys, but I don't know. Like this is a lot, and I played it for my wife tonight, and she said this would make every Scorsese movie better, and every non-movie situation worse.
And did that hurt you and your people?
No, it didn't. It just made me think that, like, I love Maps. I love the fucking album Maps.
So let's just jump right into it. Ryan, what is your vote?
Yeah, it's Maps.
It is Maps. Mac.
Yeah. There's something painful, not in a bad way, about Maps because it's just so, I guess, like intellectual. It just makes you think so much. You have to really think through it. But that's what's beautiful about it, and that gets my vote.
I mean, Tyler, the Creator, has won Album of the Year on this show, and like, it does sort of reckon back to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Maps gets my vote. I think it's brilliant.
Gregory.
I think if you described both of these albums to me, I'd be like, oh, I'm definitely going to choose Maps. The process of listening to Maps for me, I felt like I couldn't relax and just listen to it because I was like, you got to be dialed in for this, bud. And that caused me to have a little bit of a cold relationship to it. Lankum, first of all, False Lankum is the best name. To like have the name of your album be False, the name of your band, is just so smart. And this album got my
Aerosmith presents False Aerosmith.
I don't think of myself as like, I don't like think of my Irish heritage at all, but there's a couple songs that as soon as they come on, I just stand up and start like doing a little jig. So I'm going to give it to Lankum, False Lankum, because it brought out the Irish in me.
But a sad like funeral jig because this is not like a her where a
all
leprechaun's
Irish
mocking.
music is exceptionally sad because of the history of colonialism and famine and poverty and living in Ireland.
But it's not like the Pogues. It's not like let's dance.
Yeah.
It's very like
Some of it is though. Some of it is. They have a couple songs that are upbeat. Some of them are not. You know, some of them are dirgy. And almost every song ends with at least a minute of like, now we make our instruments make these sounds for a while, and that's not my favorite thing. But
it's
I still like
so
the
many.
album.
So
you
many
still
songs,
listen to all of it, right?
They all drop their instruments in unison and just walk out of the studio while the producer keeps recording.
Yeah, it's just like they just like drag their fingers across the strings for like a minute. They're like, that's cool, Lankum. Thank you for that.
Caitlin,
You got to thank them.
Thank him, the Lankum. Caitlin, your vote, please.
I am also going to go for my little Irish boys with Lankum.
Yeah.
That is shocking to me because they play sad songs sometimes and are slower.
I just liked it better than
Yeah.
Maps.
That's fine.
Yep.
I did not. We're only 2 in. I did not know I'd make these many decisions because of what Greg just described. I think Lankham has so many good songs, and some of them go on for 7 extra minutes without being a song. My vote will be also for Maps. Let's do another one. It is Wednesday. Rat Saw God versus 100 Gex, 10,000 Gex. So we got geckos versus rats. McKenna, where are you leaning?
I forgot this was the matchup. I want to preface, I don't know if I'm the perfect. When I first started listening to Rat Saw God, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then the more I listened, it seemed like the lyrics is at odds with the musicality of it at times. And that seems intentional, but it made it hard for me to love. So I'm going to go with Gex.
Okay.
I think this is like we have an official spot in our bracket, and it's the Big Thief
Yes.
Waxahachie spot.
So apt, Ryan, because this is also like shoegazy fuzz rock country.
But
just
Waxahachie
like fucking
seemed
Big
to
Thief.
blend more. This seems...
This is like a little post Waxahachie.
Yeah, it's
if I can
more
make that a
like
genre.
It's gonna scratch you and just not it's gonna cause an itch that you can't scratch almost.
I know, and I fought with this band. Like I really fought against them because like every time I wanted to dance, I was like, they were like no, and every time like I wanted to think, they were like dance, bitch.
Ryan, you historically have said you fucking hate the 100 Gex now. So where are you gonna vote?
I do not hate the 100 Gex. I love the 100 Gex, and I think that Hollywood Baby is an absolute guarantee. I don't know which one of the 5 of us stooges is going to put that on the 2023 mixtape, but like, it's on there.
All of us together. Let's just
Yes.
agree.
Right now,
that's-
that
All
goes on.
hold hands and jump in because that is one of the songs of 2023. But like this Wednesday album, I think that I've come so accustomed to like doing these brackets and need this album of like her voice, her sound, their sound. 100 Gex is just like, it sort of is to me like the 3rd season of, like if we can talk about this in TV terms, it's the 3rd season of this show. And we voted for it before. There's some cool new things in this season, but I do have to go with Wednesday for sure.
All right, 1-1, Caitlin. Are you a Gek or you're a rat? Hard question, easy answer. Greg?
I love the Wednesday album, and if it had drawn many other albums, I think I would have gone with that. And I have to say, this 100 Gex album is probably my third, would be my number 3 in my heart for 100 Gex albums. But this is like one of my favorite bands. And on top of Hollywood Baby, there's also the opening, which is Dumbest Girl Alive, which is like such a shreddy, powerful, big, epic opening. And then some of the songs I think are near misses, but still I think that the power of those 2 songs and the fact that just not anybody does it the way 100 Gex does it. I'm going to go with them.
Mike, what's that AV Club band? Starts with
Dawes?
Dawes. So like
Man,
every
I hate that you said barely anything. I knew exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Continue.
So every year you had to beat Dawes. Or like Rolling Stones would always love every single Bruce Springsteen album, no matter what. So the battle here, because of who Pop Filter is, based on the 5 people that I'm looking at, is can you beat the 100 Gex album that came out this year? I think that is the battle.
And Wednesday could not. So the last thing I'll say is they also, because shoegaze, it's inherent their songs also do droney things in the middle, but where Lancom's, it felt like they dropped it or they wanted to put the listeners through an endurance test. Wednesday felt like they had a point in their long instrumental sections.
And
100
also,
Gex.
like, I don't, like, we hate, like, telling artists what to do. Like, we can only critique the art. But if Lincoln would just, in the background,
Yeah.
halfway through a song, just be like, I hadn't heard of Cotton Eye Joe. And then, like, a dance beat started, the songs would have been way better.
We'll take that to the bank, Lankham. We're not talking about you at all right now. 100 Gex moves on. We're going to take the quickest of breaks, and when we come back, more battles. Your next battle is your number 2 seed, Caroline Polachek's Desire, I Want to Turn, versus your 15th seed, JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown's Scaring the Hose. Greg, do you want to turn or do you want to scare the hose?
I love the name for the album, "Scaring the Hose." If it was just based on names, I think I'd go with that. I really feel like I connected with this Caroline Polachek album. It made me happy. I always looked forward to putting it on. It's got a lot of energy. It's not necessarily like the one you throw on to work out, but it's still got a lot of like positive, joyful energy. And yeah, it's just like this was one of the albums that was a ray of sunshine listening to it. Good or bad, sometimes the albums can be a drag. Even like there can be like a really good album and kind of be a tough listen. This is a good album that's joyful to listen to.
I like that. That is an apt description.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
And it also gets my vote.
And yeah, that'd be so weird if you said all that. You're like, so that's why I'm going with Scaring the Hose.
But Scaring the Hose is a hilarious name.
Caitlin.
Yes. Okay. So Caroline's album, it reminded me of what's her name? Apple.
Fiona.
Fiona Apple.
For sure.
It reminded me of that. So like right when I heard it, I was like, oh, everyone's gonna jump on board this one. I was not the biggest fan of it. So I'm gonna be scaring those hoes.
That's true. It was like it reminded this thing that you all love, and that's why I hated it.
You all loved. I just remember when we had Fiona Apple on, and everyone loved it so much, and I was not loving it, and I was on my little island. Yes,
she got us through the pandemic.
Yeah,
Caitlin.
she did. And
Caitlin,
we all fetched
what the
Bolt
fuck,
Cutters.
dude?
To
I was
pull a
on my
Ryan,
island.
I own that on vinyl now. Probably because Ryan might have gotten me for that. Ryan, speaking of you, what is
Caitlin is a constant state of like, oh, you all eating delicious steak? I'm eating candy corn.
Yeah. I love candy corn.
You
and I think
fucking
that's why.
Yeah,
I think that's why I'm on this island by myself.
No, this JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown album is spectacular. Always in my head. A lot of catchy hooks. But this Caroline Polachek album was my number one from the beginning of the year. And I think because of what Caitlin said, I was like, oh, this is Fiona Apple, right? Like, this is going to be the Fiona Apple of this year. Like, and I think it is, too, because we had just before the year started, we had done the best of Pop Filter all time. And I think that's 15 years of stuff. We had done the best of 2022 all time. And we had said, what is the best album, TV comedy, TV drama, and movie? And we said, White Lotus. And she has a song that is,
oh yeah.
And she like straight up has the White Lotus theme as one of her songs. And yeah, like this was my album of the year for sure.
All right, that's Ryan's vote. Mac, where are we going?
I got a similar. I didn't turn to Fiona Apple when I first heard this Caroline Polachek, but that opening song, "Welcome to My Island," sonically, I got like Dirty Computer vibes, and I heard that, and I immediately I paused it and I set aside time where I could listen, where I did not have a toddler nearby. I did not have work to do. I was like, this needs folks, and I'm so glad I did, because this album has resonated with me so much. JPEG Mafia, great, but Desire, I Want to Turn Into You.
Great. It's like one of those like headline. You're so good. I'm gonna highlight you, and I'm gonna actually read this article.
Yeah, JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown Scaring the Hose is definitely worth checking out. Danny Brown is one of my favorite voices in rap, both as a persona and his literal weird high-pitched voice.
Yeah.
But I also, if somebody's like, I can't stand his voice, I understand. I like what I like, and I love Danny Brown. But Caroline Polachek's Desire I Want to Turn moves on. Next battle is your 7th seed, Lana Del Rey's Did You Know That There Is a ... up against your 10th seed, Young Father's Heavy Heavy. Ryan, are you going heavy? Or are you going? What is the full? I really just wrote ... What is the full fucking
tunnel?
Did you know there's
Tunnel
a tunnel
Ocean
under
Avenue?
the Orange County?
A tunnel under Orange County?
I feel like
Ocean
that like a lot of my life has been spent trying to figure out LDR as a musician, as a person. She's written some of my favorite albums, like created Norman fucking Rockwell, and then also like some stinkeroos in between that. This album is, I think, not there, but like it's incredible. This Young Father's album has completely shook my house.
Scottish
I cannot
hip hop? What the
get
fuck?
enough of it. I just like, I love it so much. And this Lana Del Rey album is so good, and I've listened to it so many times. and I can't crack her. I still don't know who she is. I do know that she spent some time running a Waffle House for a day because I read about that listening to Century of the Year. But I don't like this young father scene. I don't know, man. Like, this thing is great.
So that's your vote?
I think so.
Is it because you yourself are a young father? Do you feel drawn?
And I'm getting heavy, Mike.
Caitlin, Lana or father?
I'm kind of with Ryan, where Lana Del Rey, I always wanted to be like on that boat, but I can never catch it. I really just, I can't get on the same wavelength as Lana for some reason, but I want to, but I can't.
Oh, she's whispering another song.
What?
Yeah.
I feel like every time I'm anti-Lana, I get screamed at. This is crazy to
It's
me. that
probably
you guys
me.
Oh
are
my
like-
God.
It's probably me.
Are we all anti-Lana? Like,
No.
in the nicest way?
No,
Okay.
we are not. This, I'll,
No, not like anti, but just like I
Anti-Lana.
want to like her,
Fucking
but
get it.
I just
Yeah.
I don't get it. Yeah,
And-
I just don't get Lana.
I want to say, too, that, like, even though this is, like, a hacky thing to say in the bracket, this is a terrible matchup.
Yeah.
I think that LDR's album here is amazing. But this Young Father's album is, like, it's so many different musical things that, like, I don't know. Like, there's so many different sort of world music things brought to America that are done, like, in America pop ways. It's really hard not to like.
But yeah, I agree because I'm also voting for Young Fathers.
Greg, our Lana Stan, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm a Lana Banana. That's what we call ourselves, the fans of Lana Del Rey. As an artist, she is so intriguing. This is one of her better albums, and I think what's happening is that she is competing against herself. And if this were a completely new album and we'd never heard any of her sound before, I think we'd be like blown away by it. But I think that on some levels, the fact that Young Fathers is such a new sound, and we don't have, like, I personally don't have a lot to compare it to. This was the toughest matchup for me, and it's very hard for me to say this, but truthfully, I enjoyed the Young Fathers album more. And it's like 30 minutes long. No song is longer than like 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Hell yeah.
And yet the places it goes and the people you'll see, it's very exciting. It's a very exciting album, and I think ultimately that's what gives it the edge.
And you know how hard it is for me to say this? I want to be there live. I want to see them perform.
You hate live
this.
music.
I do.
Wouldn't this be better if you recorded it and put it on vinyl?
Yeah.
Mac, your vote doesn't matter, but who would you have voted for?
I love
Californians
this.
are used to it.
No, my issue with Lana is she's kind of becoming like an Adele to me. Like, if you put her albums on in the next room, I'm not sure I'd be able to distinguish which song was playing or which album was.
Or just your mom complaining. Like, you can't tell the
Yeah,
difference
you
between
know,
the two.
it's all the same. So I do have respect for Lana, but I don't love this.
Damn,
I
this is
don't
like a
know.
number 2 seed? What is this?
7.
Yeah.
7. Okay.
But yeah, I'm
So
going to go
not a
with
huge
Young
upset.
Fathers.
Yeah, this is, as the Lana hater on the show, this is the first album. I've liked songs of hers, but a full album that was like, fuck yeah, I get it finally. But it doesn't matter. She's out of here. Your next battle is your 3rd seed, Sufjan Stevens' Javelin, versus your 14th seed, The Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe. Ryan, you brought Monet into the conversation, I believe. So
I
defend
did.
it.
Oh, man. To get one of my picks into the Elite 8, Mike, you know what that would mean to me. Like,
Yeah.
my parents already have like a pedestal set up for me, so like I could drive to their house and take a picture in front of their house, and then like we would take pictures, and then like they have like a, what do you call it, a lei that they would put on me because I did not graduate high school, so like that would be that for them. But Sufjan Stevens, this album, the first time I listened to it, I was like, "You're not gonna win, bitch. You're so quiet and emotional," and yet you keep listening to it. And sometimes, guys, you don't need the bombast. Sometimes you just need Sufjan.
And that is your vote?
Over. Oh, I'm going to vote?
Yeah.
Janelle Monáe.
All right. Gregory?
I feel like I have not been the biggest Sufjan Stevens fan in the world, and so I approached this album not with a like, oh, I really love this guy. Instead, I approached it with like this is what other people are really into, and I was blown away. I loved it so much, and I find it's one that I'm reaching for even when I'm not thinking about like doing my listening homework, which is quite a lot to say, actually.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm gonna go with it. Javelin by Sufferin' Stevens.
Not that I'm talking to you 5 or you 4, but teachers out there, if you have to grade and you just need something to like be in the background but like motivate you, Javelin.
And you've listened to too much of the Flute album
by Andre 3000. And you forgot to listen to the
up.
first 2099 Andre albums? Yeah.
Caitlin.
I think you gotta throw this one to me because it's a javelin.
Ew, wait, that's not what you do with a javelin, though. That's not.
No, don't throw
Darn
javelins
it.
at your friends, please.
You catch that
God
shit
darn.
and you throw it back.
But yeah.
But javelin, love it. Mac.
Yeah.
This is tough. I'm just gonna give my vote instead of harping on my internal issues. Janelle Monáe.
Now I have a fucking decision to make. Yeah, Sufjan can be. I've loved him sometimes, and sometimes he's both sparse and overbloated at the same time somehow. And this album, I think, is a return to form. It's so fucking good, and I agree. It's just a reachable one where I love Janelle Monáe and kind of forgot this album existed because it's there. But yeah, it just never got its hooks in me. My vote is for Sufjan Stevens. Next battle is number 5, Olivia Rodrigo's Guts versus number 12, Jessie Ware's. That feels good.
Come on. This seems unfair.
It does seem unfair, and also unfair to Ryan. He doesn't get to talk right now. Mac, what is your vote?
I'm a little torn. I don't think Guts is as good as Olivia Rodrigo's debut album. I think that it falls a little bit short, but it's still a spectacular album. Jessie Ware, it's such. I'm just gonna go with Jessie Ware. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Feeling the disco pop.
Feeling the disco pop. It's fun. It felt like a breath of fresh air among all of the artists that we've listened to, and I think I'm just letting that feeling take over and running with it. It feels good.
Caitlin.
I think there's one artist on our whole bracket that talks about vampires and references things that are so Twilight-esque, and only one, and that's Olivia Rodrigo on Guts. She even has a song called "Fucking Vampire,"
And it's beautiful.
and and it's so good. And I have listened. This was one of the albums that I had already listened to before this bracket came out, and I do also think I'm with McKenna though. The disco, Jessie Ware, I'm gonna have to go with her. Even though Olivia Rodrigo, loved that album, I do think her debut was a little bit better than this one.
Wow, Gregory.
I thought Guts was more interesting and was a better album personally. I just think it's her second album, and so there was maybe not that surprise with it. But this is the album that I listened to the most in this year, and I found it very exciting. I don't think it's fair that Jessie Ware's album goes up against it because it's like a party in a CD, and it just that feels good as a great name for the album.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Guts by Olivia Rodrigo.
Fun. Ryan, your vote.
So I am allowed to talk now?
Now you are, yeah. It's your turn.
Okay, so this is like a weird comparison, but I feel like Jessie Ware is good at proving that she has listened to other music, but Olivia Rodrigo is doing the same music differently. It's Jessie Ware is a remix of all the other decades, but Olivia Ware is touching not just the past, but the present. I don't know how she does it. Olivia Rodrigo seems like she makes it seem so easy, and that's why I think she's so talented. I cannot believe how she does all of this. If it's not as good as Sour, Sour's not in this bracket.
Right.
We're not comparing Sour to this. We're comparing it to these 15 albums, and I think that as much as I love this Jessie Ware album, and I fought for everyone to listen to this Jessie Ware album for half the year, I think that Guts is potentially the album of the year.
Yeah, to show some leg, review behind the curtain, we were texting as friends do, and I said I didn't like Jessie Ware at first and then grew to love her, and you were mad that I didn't love her instantly.
Yeah.
Even though I landed in the same place you did, you were still
No,
mad at me.
you have to
Not quick
start
enough.
in the same place I did.
Which will never happen. Once again, it is up to me. I fucking love this kid, man, and she's doing pop punk so hard and so fun. My vote, I am what I am. It has to be Olivia Rodrigo. Your
Hell yeah.
final battle of the preview show. Your number 6 seed, Mitski's The Land is Inhospitable, and So Are We, versus your 11th seed, My Choice, Meet Me at the Altars, Past, Present, Future, and let me remind you that this is 3 women of color in pop punk, which is pretty rare, so let your white guilt decide your votes now, Ryan.
Oh, I'm going?
Yes.
I do have to check out Meet Me at the Altar. I do, but Mitski is the most talented, most important person in music today. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Caitlin.
Mike, I'm gonna trust you. I do like Mitski, but I'm gonna go with Meet Me at the Altar because actually, besides you, I've heard great things about them. So
You're going to go with Mike Ski?
I'm gonna go with Mike Ski.
AKA Meet Me at the Altar. Thank you. I think you're going to love him. Mac?
Yeah, your pitch has me absolutely sold. I've already downloaded this album to my Spotify. I'm so hyped for it. I don't think I can vote fairly because I have not listened to it, and Mitski is fantastic. So I've got to go with Mitski, but I'm sad that I can't give it the full vote because I don't know what this album sounds like. But I'm
That's
so
fine.
excited
We're
to
fine.
listen.
We're not in a fight now. And Greg.
I'll back you, Mike. I'll back you.
Mitski is one of my favorite recording artists, and the way in which she describes sadness and ennui and our tendency to bully ourselves and rub our faces in our own messes.
Filth.
It's just so profound to me, and so I also have downloaded to my Apple Music Meet Me at the Altar. But downloaded to my heart and soul is Mitski, The Land is Inhospitable, and So Are We. And I can't turn my back on her.
And Mike, real quick, you got the opportunity to talk about Meet Me at the Altar, but what would you vote?
Mitski. I love Meet Me at the Altar, but Ryan, I believe you said she's one of the most important recording artists working these days. I don't think that's hyperbole. Mitski.
Yeah, isn't she one where you're just if you hear there's a new Mitski album, you rush to go listen to it?
And I
Do
mean,
your
this one
job.
didn't even sound like previous Mitski albums. And we were
No,
still
yeah.
hell yeah, hell yeah. Don't Mitski with that. Don't miss me Mitski with that one.
Mitski with that bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
got there as a
Yeah, we're
group,
there.
you two. But Meet Me at the Altar, definitely worth checking out. So your albums going into the battle are Boy Genius's The Record, Billy Woods and Kenny Segal's Maps, 100 Gex, 10,000 Gex. Or is it 100,000 Gex? 10,000 Gex was the last one.
I think it's
A lot of 100 Gex, a lot of Gex. Caroline Polachek's Desire, I Want to Turn. Young Father's Heavy Heavy. Sif John Stevens' Javelin. Olivia Rodrigo's Guts. And Mitski's The Land is Inhospitable. And So Are We. We'll see you in a few weeks. Mike out.
Oh my God, what an elite 8 of albums. Caitlin, did you hear those albums?
All of them. So sweet.
Did you, Caitlin, did you do that thing where you listened to all 8 albums at the same time?
I did, and it felt really good on all of my ears. All 10 of my ears.
All 10 of your ears. You have ears like a female dog has nipples. Has anybody
That's
said
right.
that about you?
I've actually heard that quite a few times, actually. Yeah.
Caitlin, we have no choice right now but to throw it to Greg because it is time to take 16 TV comedies of 2023 and reduce it to 8. Greg, are you ready for this?
I am ready to do this. I don't know if anybody could ever truly be ready to tackle these 16 comedies. And in fact, before we do that, I think what we're going to need to do is replace some of these with our own picks. And the ones that are up for replacing are the number 16 seed, What We Do in the Shadows, the number 15 seed, The Righteous Gemstones, the number 14 seed, I Think You Should Leave, the number 13 seed, Shrinking, the number 12 seed Party Down, or the number 11 seed Abbott Elementary. Abbott Elementary falling into the danger zone. Maybe a little bit of a surprise there. We have all of our beautiful panelists here. McKenna has stepped outside to scream briefly, but
McKenna said she stepped outside to smoke a reefer.
Yeah, dude. She's like, I'm gonna roll up the pot like a cigarette and smoke it in front of the high school gym.
We called that a jazz cigarette in my day.
A jazzy, we used to call them, a DJ Jazzy Jeff. Ryan, I'm gonna throw to you, bud, and I'm gonna ask you: is there a comedy here that you want to pull off this list and replace with one of your own?
Greg, it was supposed to be at random.
Oh, I did. I
And then
randomized it.
And I came up first?
That was actually, you know what, Ryan, I'm going to tell you something. This is behind the scenes. So listeners, don't turn us off, but also don't listen to this next part. Books was the first one, but she is just staring at us and won't talk. So I'm going to throw it to you.
Should I do Books first? My name's Books, and I think the best comedy was Taylor Swift's 1989, Taylor's version.
Oh, Books, you are. Wait, hold on. That wasn't Books. That was you, Ryan.
Yeah, Books, get out of here. That was me. Okay, so I'm going to do a thing here.
I love it.
I don't like its opponent, but I have to take out a show that I thought, I love. This is a hell of a bracket. It's a hell of a bracket.
Yeah, strong bracket.
Hello.
I have to say.
Hello.
But one of these shows is so edging mediocre to me. So are you even well written? I guess you're well acted. You have stars in it, I think. Right? Jason Segel? Harrison Ford?
I think
You're doing a
Harrison
good
Ford
job.
counts as a star. Did everybody
Harrison
know
Ford-
that Ryan was talking about shrinking by the way he described it?
Only because he highlighted it on the shared document we're looking at. But it's
Yeah.
so weird to talk about something and not tell the listeners what you're talking about.
And I don't like Shrinking's opponent. This fucking sucks for me. But I have to go up against the opponent, and I have to put what I think is the most laugh out loud. And I'm sorry to you three, but what does comedy mean to you? Because to me, it means LOL. Okay, not DOD. It doesn't mean drama moments. It's laugh out loud moments, and that's Southside, a little show
That could.
about a group of people in Chicago who are doing their thing, and it's the best show on TV.
Are we doing the 2022 thing again? Yes, maybe a little bit. Southside.
Oh wait, was there no episodes in 2023?
Honestly, I don't think there were, and I wasn't trying to be a pill there.
Wait, hold on. I have another one. Can we look it up real
yeah,
quick?
sure, certainly. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
hey,
do wanna
Ryan fucked up. Can he get another shot?
Of course he can have another shot because we're all friends here and we're putting together a friends podcast. My belief
I'm a friend who comes prepared, but that's fine. No.
but this is
No.
this is
I deserve it.
this is an important point though. What happens to these things that get caught in this in between state where they come out the very end of a year? They
Yeah.
never get any coverage because of that.
Well, we
So
let
this is a
SZA in
little
on
bit of-
albums.
This is a little bit of SZA. They all came out in December of 2022.
I say we let it in.
I say we let it in. That's December of 2022. That's when 2023 started.
How about this? As a compromise, we let Southside in, and I pick Caitlin and Mike's choices for the replacements.
You know what? I love it. I love compromise. We are all about compromise on this podcast. We've all been
Southside.
compromised several times. So, Southside, a show that we definitely should talk about. And I bet we have done all that we're going to for it, basically. All right. After Ryan, it is my good friend Mike. Mike, you can take those shows I listed off.
Yeah.
You could take
Yeah.
Southside off. You could put Shrinking back on. You could say, I think that this is well written and the dialogue is not wooden at times.
No, look.
And Mike, if you're basing this based on how your penis works, you're gonna put Shrinking right back on.
Oh, it does get smaller sometimes, Mike.
People know I love to hang out in pools. I both can simultaneously love the experience of watching Shrinking and also say it doesn't necessarily deserve to be on this list.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. Another show that people know maybe three things about me in the world. I was a caterer for a long time, and one of my favorite shows in the world is Party Down. But was it fun to hang out with these characters again? Sure it was.
Michael James Gravano, you do not take this show off the bracket.
Did
Or
you find
do
it
you?
full of LOLs?
Yes. This show is one. This show could win the entire thing, you stupid idiot.
That's wild. Maybe I should watch it again. I don't like to cave into terrorists, but I'm about to. So, do you know what didn't do as well this year? What We Do in the Shadows, Kick Rocks. Do you know what the funniest shows of this year is? Kunk on Earth. Kunk deserves to be talked about. Let's talk about Kunk.
2020 winner, What We Do in the Shadows being taken off. Kunk on Earth was one of these that like hung on the list for a long time and then barely dropped off. If we're just talking like amount of laughing and how hard you laugh, I don't think anything is going to be able to touch
Nothing.
Kunk on Earth.
Too bad it's going to get destroyed because I caved into bullying instantly.
Kunk, not just on Earth, but also on our bracket, What We Do in the Shadows, taken off. Books, I'm going to throw to you here. What do you think deserves to be on this bracket that is not already on it?
That is not already on it. It's one that did get knocked off. I love Kunk on Earth. I think that absolutely deserves to be on here. I'm glad that's on here. I really enjoyed Shrinking. I think I might be in the minority of the population. That's perfectly fine. I did enjoy Shrinking a lot, though, because I get a choice. And you all created a system where I get to add things. Oh, this is so tough, though.
Did you like Kevin James' new sitcom?
They're not comparable, you fucker.
It's not the part where you think of a show that to put on the bracket. I don't think is the hard part. I think the hard part is picking a show
What to
that's
knock
on the
off.
bracket and taking
That
it
takes
off.
off. Yeah, I'm now questioning every life decision because I don't want to replace one of these.
Caitlin
I really enjoyed
McKenna just
Shrinking.
took off Billy Woods from the album bracket. That's crazy.
I just want to give out a shout out to Shrinking. I understand I'm in the minority of the population. I'm not going to replace one of these, actually. I don't. Kunk on Earth was my first pick.
You're standing pat.
And I'm standing pat because Kunk on Earth made it at least this far, and I do think it deserves to be there. Shrinking was just another one I enjoyed, but I don't think I enjoyed it any more than any of these. So.
Yeah, it's not better than any, any
No,
of these. I think
it's not. It's just I think it just deserves attention, but I'm fine with it
don't
being
we
off.
all deserve attention?
Do you guys ever
No.
get like a little inside herpes and you're like, oh, kink on lip?
Yeah, all the time.
So that the next person with a choice for who to swap out would be me, and I just watched McKenna just embrace the true face of cowardice, and it looks so appealing to me. I really think the bracket is what we want the bracket to be. I think that some of the weaker comedies fell off the bracket or have been removed. Shrinking was the big sore spot to me. I liked Shrinking. Again, I think we all liked Shrinking. It's just
So
there's-
watchable.
Yes, very
Yeah, it's a warm
watchable.
blanket of a TV show.
Yeah, great, like solid performances, good characters, but not one of these 16 movies or shows. So I'm going to also take the coward's way out and say I'm standing pat.
I love how that was such an insult, and you somehow turned it into a compliment, and then somewhat back to insult.
Caitlin, what do you think? Do you think we've got it right? This is the perfect bracket, or do you think that there's something that needs to be swapped out?
I'm so glad that I'm not the first person to be like, no, I'm not gonna change this. This is too good. I'm not gonna take one
Starting
of these
trends.
beautiful gems off this.
And Greg,
No.
I'm sorry, Caitlin is last, so whatever she does is going into the 16.
Yeah, your
Oh.
choices are final here.
I'd like to say that this is perfect, but I do have opinions. No, no, it's honestly it's perfect, and I would love to put other things on here, but I think the ones that we can move around, those ones deserve to be on here and could possibly take down their opponent. So, yeah, let's see. Nope, I'm not going to change anything.
Okay, so
that's it.
clearly we don't have the sort of the spine and backbone to take things off of the list. But if there's anything that we were going to put on the list, if we were going to have honorable mentions, Ryan, do you have any that if the list were 32, you would like to see on it?
Yeah, I think that this was the final season of How To with John Wilson, and it's a show that completely always blows me away. I don't know if it's a comedy or a docudrama or just a drama or just like it's a something, but like it deserves to be on here, and that sucks.
He got a little salty this season. He got a little bit of attitude this season. I liked it.
A little bit tired of his job, and like,
Yeah.
you know what? Fuck you, New York. How about
Yeah,
that shit?
A little bit tired by like being told by people that he shouldn't be filming. Like he got in
Right.
some people's faces about that.
Not that we're paid by the Emmys, but Only Murders in the Building should be mentioned. I think that it's a really good show. Starstruck though came out with its final season, and although lost its like sort of gumption of its premise, still figured out a way to like land the plane. I think Starstruck is a really good show.
Awesome, very good. I like that. After Ryan, it's Mike. Mike, any honorables you'd like to mention?
Yeah, and I think it's categorizing things in this day and age is difficult. But a thing I think is a comedy and deserves to be talked about is The Great. It's super fucking funny. And maybe it'll be talked about later, but I think it deserves to be talked about with its peers as a comedy.
Why did critics and awards race away from that show? It was like, oh, that first season, unbelievable. We will never talk about it again.
It didn't get worse. Like, it just like it picked its level and just went, yep. And I think it's that. It's like it's not new anymore, so they're like, okay, we get it.
Yeah,
They weren't surprised by it.
Or getting queasy about the sexual content. It never like backed off on the like hyper sexual characters and jokes.
Or that we want to pick Nick Holt. Is that his name?
It is.
Nick
right?
Holt.
We want to keep him pristine. So
Yeah.
let's not watch him be a bastard anymore.
We can't do it. Such an interesting
Supposed
character,
to be
though.
a good guy.
Yeah.
McKenna, if you were going to honorable mention any of these, are there any besides Shrinking that you'd want to mention?
I do want a second. Only Murders in the Building. So good. I think I am the only one who enjoyed the. I didn't love. I want to preface this. It was not perfect final season. It was not the top, but I'm pretty sure season 3 of Ted Lasso came out in 2023.
It
I
did.
think it did.
The culture turned
right?
on Ted Lasso this year pretty hard.
And I think it's not a perfect comedy, but I think there are some things that it handled and tackled very well. And I will commend it for having a positive throughout each season, very good, very strong, not romantic, solely platonic female-male lead relationship, like friendship, so well. Not enough shows do that. Not enough shows celebrate that guys and girls can just be best friends and help each other grow and not turn into a romantic partnership. And that show did it so consistently throughout, and I loved that.
My wife and I are best friends, so that proves that's true.
Oh, no.
What do you say, Caitlin? Is there anything that you would like to mention? Any comedies?
Yes, I want to third Only Murders in the Building. I watched that week by week, and I didn't think that would be a show that I would like look forward to, but it's so fucking good. So if you haven't seen Only Murders in the Building, very good.
Podcasters.
It's about podcasts.
And about
I just
how
don't like 'em.
They make things better all the time.
Murders.
Constantly improving.
And as someone who doesn't like murders, it's a very good one.
I
And
like-
I like
Murder, but murders, too many.
murders. Too many murders. And then also Our Flag Means Death. Very good. Not as good as the first season, but still great. Always love to see me some Taika Waititi and some Blackbeard. It's very good. I love that. I love that show.
I'm going
feel
to
like-
honorably mention What We Do in the Shadows. I think that this show is still doing a pretty good job of being funny and being very interesting. I feel like some of these comedies bother to have interesting plots, and What We Do in the Shadows always finds a way, I think, to like come up with interesting implications of what if you had to live on Staten Island. All right.
What we do in the shadows sort of bored me because I hang out with Mike and like, why
He's kinda
why do I
already
need
like
two
that.
Matt Berries in
I'm
my
a
life?
real-
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well you know what? Let's get voting, America. Our first matchup is the number 1 seed, the Bear, versus number 16, Kunk on Earth. Mike,
Yes.
this feels like a pretty rough draw for Kunk on Earth. Do you agree?
Yeah, I shouldn't have given in. I wish I hadn't. I could have made a different argument, but no, because that one would have been a hard battle too.
Or you know what? And a lot of times what you got to do in a situation like that, escalate.
Escalate,
Yeah.
bully back harder.
Yeah.
What I will argue is The Bear is a phenomenally written, incredibly well acted, very short drama. And Kunk on Earth is the funniest fucking TV show to come out in this year. It is so funny, and The Bear makes you go, huh, as laughter, where Kunk actually makes you make the human sound of real laughter.
Is that a vote for Kunk on Earth?
I vote for Kunk on Earth.
Wow.
Whoa.
Putting the flag down.
Wow.
I'm the bear now. Look at me.
Wow. And based solely kind of on the ha-ha factor there, Mike.
There's no more ha-has nor hee-hees than Kunk on Earth.
Caitlin, what do you think? Are you only going on humorous content?
So, okay, I think last year the bear was on the comedy bracket and I threw a fit because I didn't feel like it was a comedy.
You
it was
threw
more
a
of a
legit
drama.
fit, yeah.
I threw a legit fit. I
Straight
threw a bear
tangent.
at everyone's face. Everyone has mauled faces because of me, and I'm not sorry. But this year, I feel like the bear is very different. The tone of the show is so much different than the first season, and I don't think it fell any farther. Like, I feel like it was still such an amazing show. Kunk on Earth, very, very funny. Loved it. But I feel like the bear is more, I don't know. I feel like I can't not vote for the bear.
Love it. Books, I feel like Kunk on Earth is a show meant to make fun of smart people and get them to kind of like be foolish. Did you take offense to that at all as a self-identifying smart person?
Oh no, because the most foolish people in the world are smart
Yes,
people.
for
Let's
sure.
be real. The dumbest people out there are the smartest people also. And it's delightful to see them fall into those traps. As someone who regularly does, I like knowing that other people do as well. It's a show that I tried to pitch to my husband based off of my poor description. How do you describe that show well? You don't.
No.
There's no way you can accurately. And he's like, yeah, you can watch that one without me. I had already watched one episode. And so then I just turned it on while he was not really paying attention. And soon enough, we had finished 4 episodes in a row. And he was delightfully laughing on our couch. Don't describe it to people. Just force them to watch it.
Or like do
And
a
that is
bit,
the approach.
I guess do an impression of her maybe.
I don't think that would go over very well either. No, it's brilliant. It's delightful. So many hee-hees. However, The Bear is my favorite show from last year and this year. I don't host the comedy show, but The Bear makes me want to just talk about comedies all day long. So that gets my vote.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ryan, I thought for a second there might be a little bit of a drive to Kunk on Earth, but now it seems like we're in bear territory. Where do you think?
As somebody who worked with the board on shaping the bracket and the trying to figure out the like really hard questions about genre, and I'm sorry, and like the Emmys have to deal with this, and we have to deal with this, and I know that we're bigger than the Emmys at this point because the Emmys only got like 4 million viewers, the lowest that they've ever gotten, and this episode will probably get more than that. But we are putting the Bear in comedy this year, despite the lack of ha-has, as Mike says. But the Bear could possibly win best album or movie, so it's the Bear.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times we talk about how the Bear isn't the funniest of the comedies. It's also still very funny.
Oh, yeah.
Cousin Richie achieving ultimate fork polishing status and driving through that alley to Taylor Swift as loud as he possibly can.
Iconic.
Now that
And
I
you know
know Kunk is losing, I can admit the Bear is funny.
I know Succession is funnier than The Bear, and that's in drama. You know, I know that it's like 30 minutes versus 60 minutes as opposed to comedy versus drama. Like, that's essentially what we're doing now, but like...
We also kind of messed that up. It's just too tough. It's too tough with the modern comedy landscape where so many dramatic pieces try to be funny and so many funny pieces try to incorporate drama. It's a beautiful thing, actually. It's a good problem to have.
Yes.
Like, is my wife my best friend, or is she my wife? Well, she's both. She's both things, and it's a good problem to have.
Is she my wife, or is she smoking?
My wife. Somebody stop me so that we can move on to the next matchup, which is our 2021 winner, and then also our number 8 seed, the other two, versus our number 9 seed, Somebody Somewhere. Ryan, I feel like the other two we've talked about for a few years now. We know what the other two is about. Could you describe what Somebody Somewhere is?
All right, so it's a brash city woman,
Bridget Everett.
Bridget Everett, moving back to the sticks where her parents raised her. I don't know when she moved out of there, but now she's back, and her parents are not having a good time. The farm is going down. Her mother is not in a good place. Very.
She's got drank in the cup.
Yeah, she's got drink in the cup. Probably to the point where her brain is ruined forever. But she's found a good friend, and I want to get this name right. Played by Jeff Hiller, who I think is an absolute superstar.
Ryan,
who
if
should
you
Mom
did-
found a best friend, or
What?
Bridget did? Who found a best friend?
Bridget found a best friend
Gotcha.
from they went to high school together, and he loved her voice from high school. And so they they were at this terrible cubicle job, and they were like, should we hang out with each other? If you go on IMDb right now, he has the same picture as Steve Carell from 40-Year-Old Virgin as his IMDb picture. And
the two of them together are amazing.
and there is you could be this next episode of Somebody Somewhere. What is it called?
Somebody somewhere.
Is 4.5 hours, and it's the two of them in the front seat of a car. You'd be like, fuck yes, please.
Yeah.
The
The
two of
less
them
that
together-
happens in the episode, the better the episode is, because the two of them just sitting there and chatting with each other is the most watchable thing on television.
And he's so afraid of his body and doesn't want to be like him, but trying to be straightforward about it. And she's busting out of her body and so proud of it, but also inwardly kind of awkward. And the two of them sort of relating to each other, all their differences and similarities is just this one of the best relationships in television history. I would say that all of the other stuff, which is incredibly well written, is all based around this couple finding each other.
The other two is a show, Mike, that I feel has sort of grown out of its initial premise and now is a completely different thing than it started off with. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, it was originally, what if Justin Bieber had two untalented siblings, and you have to deal with that. But now it's, what if the whole family became very famous and successful? And it's the poison apple. They all get what they want, and it makes their lives even more hellish.
Molly Shannon
And-
is literally in hell on this show. Their mom
yes.
every season is in a different version of hell.
Justin Bieber their brother stopped at Justin Bieber, but Molly Shannon became went past Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
And so
And she's the one who wanted fame and success the least.
Yes.
And so it's watching all these families' jealousies and then being like, oh, what should I value? And then I never thought Carrie Dubek could be the worst of the Dubeks, and he fucking is.
Dude.
what
he
a
is
fucking
a
piece
monster.
of shit. What a fucking. But then also for this show to be who should we get for this role? Molly Shannon.
Yeah.
How?
It's, if you liked comedy in the 90s or you like alt comedy now, it's got something for you. It's just everybody fucking crushes it.
But I think that I don't know if they knew that this was the final season. I don't know if you guys followed how this became the final season. There was a lot of
there was
controversy.
some bad behind the scenes shenanigans, which was really upsetting.
The showrunners became absolute monsters.
They
to their
became
Like Carrie
actual
Dubek?
Carrie and Brooke.
What
Yeah,
the
they
hell?
really carried out.
they wrote themselves
It
into
like
the show.
Entourage style, where you become the thing you were making fun of.
Right. And so the show had to end because of the monsters that they became. But no extra textual, right? Just the text.
Yeah.
This third season, a great first season that we gave Show of the Year, and then a great second season. Maybe that was the Show of the Year. But this third season was I could not believe what a pop culture mishmash of an incredible parody this was.
And really elevated, because before it was like a realistic comedy, like semi, and the full cartoon where
Yes.
Chase is turning 18, so everybody has fangs growing out of them,
Yes.
so they
Yeah.
can suck his nubile
It
blood.
got goofy as hell this season.
Yeah,
And they had to stay at a play for 36 hours because that's how long the gay AIDS play takes to put on.
And yet that same show has the big fight between Vance, the kind of himbo-y boyfriend character of the
Lance, yeah.
sister. And that's such a beautiful scene, really.
yes,
I fucking love that guy, dude.
Yeah.
he's so good.
He's so
Yes.
hot and he's so dumb and he's so nice and I just want to be him.
He was in the new Scream, and I wanted it to last forever.
Somebody somewhere has that thing with the Sufjan Stevens album
Uh-huh.
of it's not bombastic enough.
Right.
And against the other two, I just think that's the case. Man, you were so quiet and awesome and introspective, and I love what you taught me about people, but the other two was you can't beat it.
So
that's my
Ryan,
vote.
is that your vote? The other two?
Yeah.
Mike, what do
Yes.
you say?
I concur. It's the
Caitlin,
other
what do
two
you
for
think?
me.
Yes, other two.
Clean sweep for the other two. do yourselves a favor, folks. Watch Somebody Somewhere. It's a great show. Kind of a tough early match for it here. The show, one of the shows with the most heart on television. Mike, do me a favor and describe. No, it's number 4 seed Jury Duty versus number 13 seed Southside. Do me a favor, Mike. Describe Jury Duty for me.
Imagine a world where we love mockumentaries, but they've kind of gone faux pas. We love prank shows, but those have gotten mean. Imagine somebody slammed those two things together, where in fact the mockumentary and the prank is all on one lovely doofus.
One humble
I know his
Dumbo.
name. His name can't be Ron Donald, but in my head, that's his name. I know that's a guy from Party Down, but a guy whose name is as dumb as Ron Donald. And he just wants to be the best foreman and the best juror he can be. He does not have an ego.
He does
The
not know
foreman
anything
role-
about law.
He knows nothing about law, but he watches these cartoonish characters and treats them like humans
Yeah.
and empathizes when they feel bad. And he does not like that the defendant seems like an asshole, is getting railroaded. And so he's like really trying, he's like kind of detectiving, and he's pointing out other things to people. He's like, well, this just doesn't make sense. And he wants everybody to do the best they can do, whether it's soaking or pooping while famous. He's there to help them have that experience.
Hey, Mike, what was the show with the guy?
The show with the guy?
That was like 10 years ago. Not Joe Millionaire after that. With the guy that didn't know he was on a reality show?
Truman Show.
No. There's a show with a guy, like the Joe Schmo show.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And everybody talked about that. Like, that was so offensive. Like, that was so fucked up to that guy. Like, it was such a prank on him. And it was so weird to do that to that guy. I could not believe. And everyone who didn't watch Jury Duty watched Joe Schmo. And they were like, I will not put myself through that again. And I didn't watch Joe Schmo. I didn't know what they were talking about. But, like, this was not that. He was so spectacular.
Yes.
And the show was so well done. I cannot believe this should have been tried, attempted, and then burned in a furnace because it failed.
Right.
There's no way that it came out perfectly.
It's golden. And our girl, one of comedy's up-and-comers, Lisa Gilroy's in it and crushes her episode.
Along with the guy from the super guy from Parks and Rec and the
Kirk Stevens.
The bus guy from Res Dogs. He's also in it. And at one point, the guy, what's his name? Ron Donald?
Kirk Stevens. Ron Donald, as we're calling him.
The jury duty guy is like, hey, man, you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
And they have to, like, rethink everything they're doing because, oh, my God, he recognizes this guy.
They did a really good job. They cast one actor, James Marsden, as himself, and that's the whole point. And they do a good job of having, like, nobodies as every other part, except there's this one kind of big comedic actor who, if you've seen Parks and Rec, if you've seen Reservation Dogs, he's a fairly big presence in, like, comedy.
Yeah, if you're a comedy nerd this show would not have worked on us.
Yeah, no, and he's got a very distinctive voice and a very distinctive manner that he brings into this show, and he also doesn't blend. Like, he's obviously kind of doing a bit most of the time.
Yeah.
But real quick, just in case we don't talk about the show again, I have to give shout out to a guy who has pants that is chair.
Chair
Yes.
pants guy, dude. He kills the show, dude. He steals it.
And girl who answers door with bikini.
Uh-huh.
Those two are amazing improv actors and should be superstars.
The 13th seed, Ryan, this was your selection, Southside?
It was.
And what do you want to say anything more for Southside to try to win over the hearts and minds of the listeners?
Real quick, Greg, I'm just going to say that, like, I didn't think that Southside would be able to double down on Southside, but Southside, this was the season that we went into was it a yogurt or frozen yogurt factory that was just owned by the city and just, like, very powerful, and, like,
Yes.
you had to bow down to all of their wishes. I cannot believe this show. This show will go down in fucking Paley Center, where you're, like, taking note of all of the important shows. This is one of the most important shows in history. I just want you to note that.
If you had to choose one, Ryan, between Jury Duty and Southside, where would you go? What would you choose?
I think Jury Duty did a really good job.
That's brave and an important choice. Caitlin, what do you say?
I have to pick Southside.
Oh. Wait, so you really pick Southside?
I
Yeah,
did.
you need to get to read Ryan's ellipses. He's like jazz. It's what he doesn't say.
So that is one vote for Southside. I'm deeply confused. Kaylin, what are you voting for?
I'm gonna go with jury duty.
And that's your vote.
That is my vote.
Mike?
Southside came out last year.
Oh, come on.
I
It
mean,
came out in December. We talked about this.
Yeah, I know.
I love Southside.
Okay.
And there's almost no show better than it. My vote's for jury duty.
Southside, I feel like never got a full shake on this show. I mean, we did talk about it, but it just never got like its moment in the actual sun.
I think this is the only show it ever got a full shake on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one else
The
is
world
talking
didn't
about
give it a shake.
Oh,
Yes.
I just meant like it never got to star in like a best of the year episode. Jury duty though is something special, and it's going to be fun to get into that in more depth. Number 2, our next matchup is number 2 seed Reservation Dogs versus number 15 seed The Righteous Gemstones, which could have been bumped being the 15th seed, and nobody even went around there. Number 15 seed, Caitlin, am I taking crazy pills right now?
No. I mean I do like this show. It's a very good one.
Does 15 seem low to you?
I mean it's a really good show. I'm trying to think of how to compare it to the other seasons.
Caitlin, can I tell you some history real quick?
Yeah, why don't
history
you
on
tell me
us,
a little
Ryan.
bit? Yeah, do it.
It misses the bracket every other. This is its first time in the bracket. Every other year, it is out.
Okay,
Really?
I must be way
That's
high
stunning.
on this show because honestly, for me, The Righteous Gemstones is not just one of the great comedies that's on television. It's another one of these comedies that what happens on the show is interesting. It's like
Yes.
Succession if Succession leaned way more towards comedy than towards drama. But like,
And the fact that HBO was like
yes,
doing these punches at the same
dueling
time.
banjos of these two shows.
Daddy?
That
There's
is
2 shows about daddies.
what's the sister's name? Judy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
My goodness.
this actress, and
Being
I
dead.
One of the
love
most talented people.
this character. I cannot get enough of these siblings. I can't get enough of John Goodman on this show. And yet, right as I'm building momentum to talk about how we have to band together to push the Righteous Gemstones over the top, that top is the final season of Reservation Dogs. Come on. Is there any world, Mike, in which we're like, you know what? Righteous Gemstones, that's better than Reservation Dogs.
No, we are the only outfit that appreciates Southside. We are the outfit that appreciates Reservation Dogs the loudest.
Yes.
As well. It is we are here to ring the bells of shows that feel different than other shows. And Reservation Dogs is stupid fucking funny and has so much heart that if you described it that way, people would be like, what is this, a TGIF show?
I almost
Fuck
cry
you.
every episode, and I don't really tend to cry during movies or TV shows or conversations, but Reservation Dogs will all of a sudden, out of nowhere, someone will say a line, and it is so devastating, and you just grab your chest and just
Holdo maneuver. Sucks the gut out of you. Yeah, that's just how they work. And it's never manipulative. I know all the fucking strings you pull movies and TV, and yet the show does it. Second season, not this one, but Them in the Water was one of the top in the ocean water. Was one of the top TV movies for all time. And then this one, they separated a little bit. We got the history of the Res Dogs, the history of their families. It wasn't as focused. It wasn't as streamlined as the second season. But
Bear sent William Knifeman away, and that was very hard for me because William Knifeman is the most important thing to ever happen to television. His spirit guide who comes.
Okay,
and
thank you.
to
I
him.
was like, William, the spirit guide,
that
He's so
guy, his
good.
performance, and that character, and just the concept of I'm your spirit guide, but I'm the modern spirit of Native Americans. So I'm kind of goofy and weird, and I know slang, and I'm giving you a hard time because I'm also kind of like your uncle. Just so beautiful and complex and complicated. But unfortunately, only one of these, two of my favorite shows, maybe my number 1 and 2 favorite shows on television, squaring off against each other. Caitlin, let's start with you. What's moving on? Number 2, Reservation Dogs, or number 15, The Righteous Gemstones?
I feel like I know where everyone else's vote is going. So, I mean, these are both two really great ones. I'm just going to go with Righteous Gemstones, but I know everyone else is going to go with Reservation Dogs.
I love it. I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree, but I can't say that it's wrong. I mean, The Righteous Gemstones is that good. Ryan?
It's Res Dogs.
Mike?
Yeah, I love Righteous Gemstones, but it's Res Dogs.
Yeah, it's just so hard to go up against this show. Another, like, The Bear might win Best Thing of 2023. If it doesn't, Reservation Dogs might win the Best Thing of 2023.
If The Bear doesn't win, Bear will win.
Yeah, dude, it's Bears come out on top. Why don't we take a quick little break here, just so that we can deal with sort of like the gravity of these situations, and then when we come back, we're gonna make some more of these picks for you. We are back from that short little break, and we are ready to get into it again. We have our number 7 seed, The Curse, versus our number 10 seed, Mrs. Davis. These are some new shows, Ryan. So can you tell us a little bit about The Curse?
Oh, The Curse, sure. One person who I love but I hate is Nathan Fielder.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the same description goes to the Safdie brothers. And then I have to watch all that they do and then, like, suffer through it. And now they've combined into some sort of Transformers plus... Greg, do you remember Mask?
Oh, yeah.
Cartoon The Mask?
Yeah,
where it was like,
where your like car would turn into a boat.
but you'd have to wear a mask the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's a lot like that, yeah. Hour long, which used to get you bumped out of the comedy bracket. The comedy is something you experience. I don't know if it ever totally bubbles up into laughter.
Did you? So, Greg, you're like 5-6 episodes in.
I am, yeah, like six episodes in.
How many times would you say that you've ha 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 ha'd?
I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't really elicit that response.
Would you put up a fight to put it in drama?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, it's a little. I guess it feels a little bit more like, I don't know. It's not played for laughs, but it is a comedy. Something that is more directly played for laughs is Mrs. Davis. Has anybody besides Ryan seen Mrs. Davis?
No, but I love Gilpin.
And you would love her in this, Mike. Betty Gilpin is absolutely killing it in this. There is such a ton of wackety premise to this, a ton of over-the-top world building, and an overly intricate plot on purpose. But really what makes this work is a lot of down-to-earth performances, all centered on Betty Gilpin in just, I think, the best she's ever been. Ryan, is that an exaggeration to say this is the best she's ever been?
No, I mean, like, I mostly know her from Glow, and this is probably the best she's ever been. The problem is that, like, it's a little too jokey for me, a little too tongue-in-cheek. I think this is, like, what Preacher wanted to do. Maybe this show and Preacher should have met and figured something out together.
Figured out their tonal differences.
Right. But it's like, it's not, the jokes aren't there. It's not funny.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's start taking this to a vote. Based on what you've heard, panelists, Caitlin, what do you think is more your joint? The Curse, a nonstop cringe fest with some of the best performances and perhaps some of the best, like, social messaging, or number 10, Mrs. Davis, a show where the comedy doesn't quite feel there, even if the performances are very strong? One vote for The Curse. Books, what would you rather do? Spend a little bit of time watching The Curse or spend a little bit of time watching Mrs. Davis?
Everyone who knows me knows that I hate the cringe. I really, really hate the cringe factor in shows. But to be honest, even the trailers for Mrs. Davis gave me like a different kind of cringe. That
Yeah,
it was,
I
like,
think you might.
That's what I'm
too
saying.
hard.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It tried too hard, and it also explained nothing and never hooked me in. I have not watched it. I still don't have a desire to watch it based off of this description. So The Curse, at least it interests me. I will cringe the entire way I watch it, but I will still watch it. So it's going to be The Curse.
And you might not be able to, like, stop watching it. Just because it's not comfortable to watch doesn't mean that it's not watchable. So, Mike, what do you say? The Curse or Mrs. Davis?
Yeah, Emma Stone, Nathan Fielder, Safdie brothers. It's The Curse.
And Ryan, you already voted for The Curse. Is that correct?
I did, yes.
Then The Curse is what's moving on. I think I liked Mrs. Davis a little bit more than Ryan did. I don't think that there was any doubt that The Curse would just absolutely stomp all over it. Up next is our number 3 seed, Beef, versus our number 14 seed, I Think You Should Leave. Caitlin, would you tell us a little bit about Beef?
Beef. Okay, it's just people who are, someone's having a bad day, and then you have to, I don't know, have some road rage and let it out.
Just a little bit.
Just a little road rage, and it's just everything that comes from one day of road rage, and just you seeing more than just the one day of road rage, everything that bubbles down behind it. And
what if, like, that one moment of road rage, you got, for some reason, deeply connected to the
Yes.
person you had the road rage with,
If
and
you-
your lives just kept getting more and more entangled?
you
Now,
just
Caitlin, what if I get so fucking pissed off with road rage that I have no choice but to like put a little fucking cigar on my window when I'm driving, and I just fucking smoke that cigar as hard as I can?
Books, that is a clear reference to I Think You Should Leave. Do you think I Think You Should Leave still has it in its 3rd season?
Yes. I enjoyed this season. I'm sorry, if you did not see the recurring clips of the zipline scene
Yes.
trending all over social media
Yes.
and not immediately start watching I Think You Should Leave, I don't know what's wrong with you. Your TV must have been broken. Something must have been wrong, because that scene alone has brought me so much joy, reoccurring joy, this year. I think it's like most sketch comedy shows, like it bears the weight of its, honestly, most comedy shows bears the weight of its previous seasons. I would not say that this is the best season, but I think it still holds up. I think it's still delightful. I think it's still enjoyable.
And bears the weight of its dumber skits. Again, like,
Right.
we have to bring that up.
Yeah, I feel like it's easy to dismiss some of the weaker moments, and I Think You Should Leave. But there's certainly there's times where you have to deal with that. Caitlin, do you think, where would you rank this in the seasons of I Think You Should Leave?
that is so hard. Honestly, just because I watched them all together and they blend.
Yeah.
I'd say either 2 or 3. Because there's 3 seasons, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'd say 2 or 3.
So definitely not the best.
Not
of
the
seasons.
best, but also like it's still way up there. Like it's still great, and even like the 3rd place, if I were to say it was a 3rd, it's still a great and funny show. Like still laughing my butts.
Mike, 14 seed for I Think You Should Leave. Too low or too high?
Too low.
We
love it, and I know they write it specifically for us, but it's far, far too low.
And for the memes.
It should be lower, higher. What?
Do you want the number to go lower or its rank to go higher?
I want a lower number and a higher rank. Thank you. My brain broke.
Both could be right. It's very confusing.
If you
Ryan.
are ever unsure about what you just said, just say thank you. And then people will applaud.
Thank you, and good night. Ryan, we need one of these shows to move on. Let's go to you for the first vote. Is it Beef or I Think You Should Leave? Or a combination, I Think You Should Beef?
Man. And Greg, that is our typical goodbye is I think
Yeah.
you should beef.
I think you should Beef, man.
I wonder what is in these bracket situations, like what is the ceiling for a sketch show? As much as I grew up on sketch, like that is what I almost like all I knew for like a solid decade of my life is sketch. What is the ceiling? And then beef is this whole other thing that it could arguably be in the drama bracket, yes?
Yes.
And
Certainly one of the more comedy focused that we've said could potentially be in the drama bracket, though.
Right.
Like, I'm not disagreeing that it could be, but like it's not super heavy, and I feel like it's always searching around for comedy and finding it.
like for what I'm looking for in a TV show and what these two lead actors did with their characters, it just took corkscrews to the script and to these characters' brains. I just don't think a sketch show can compete. I have to go with beef, and I'm sorry.
All right, Ryan is beefing. Caitlin, what do you think? Is it beef or I think you should leave?
I am like complete opposite with Ryan because with Beef, I was watching it and there was no way that I was ever thinking this was a comedy. And then people were always saying it was a comedy. I felt like it was more drama. And like with The Bear, I feel like we got a lot more hee hee ha ha's.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel that with Beef. And I think You Should Leave is just great. So I'm going to go with I Think You Should Leave.
What
All
was
right.
the original name of the restaurant from The Bear?
Beef.
Beef.
That's beef.
The original Beef.
Mike, what do you say? Are we beefing or are we leaving?
Whoa. We're both. I love I Think You Should Leave. It's phenomenal. It's kept up 3 seasons in its quality, but I think Beef is Ali Wong and Stephen Yoon at their greatest. The whole ensemble is great, but these two are so watchable. And it is, I think it's very darkly funny. And I get if you're not into cringe or people being fucking terrible, why you
I think
wouldn't
that's
think
why.
it's funny.
They're just fucking terrible.
But they are, and I think it lampoons pettiness perfectly. It's Beef.
I would love if there was one show where like I could say stuff to the screen and they would listen to me.
Right.
It's beef.
McKenna,
Don't
what
piss
don't do that.
everywhere.
I want to go with I Think You Should Leave just because I do think the comedy is wonderful. But I've only watched the first episode of Beef. It's honestly it's just so good that it even though it's not like the comedy we expect, it like transcends the need for that genre of stipulation. So that does get my vote.
It's the comedy we deserve.
It's also like a very like complex text about race relations in Southern California, and I think it does like a lot of intricate things with that because all the people are American, but they all have people that come from different parts of the world, and I just think it's interesting the way that is all blending together in this show. I think You Should Leave is very funny, and I do think that it's got more than other sketch shows. I think it does a good job of like really talking about the modern condition. But we must move on, unfortunately, to our next matchup, which is number 5, Barry, versus number 12, Party Down. McKenna, what did you think of this season of Barry? We've been like on the fence as to whether or not this is always purely a comedy. Is this season purely a comedy?
I think any season with like or any show with this much like death and like anything, I think classifying it always as a comedy. But I think comedy is a genre that's evolving. I don't think we need to like say it always has to capture the hee-hees and the ha-has to be comedy. So
yeah, it's a dark comedy.
It's dark, but it's a comedy. It's a comedy in our sense or our appreciation of comedy.
Still definitely a comedy. Mike,
Yes.
Party Down. Are you originally a Party Down guy? I feel like you were.
I was. I owned the first 2 seasons on DVD.
DVD.
Back,
wow.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Something
Do you mean
old people
Blu-ray?
used to watch. No, even older than that, my friend.
This show very much it was an unusual thing to like start it season 3, which is what I did. I had never seen it before.
Oh, that's crazy.
Was it
Yeah.
very rewarding as someone who liked the show a lot?
It was so fun to watch all the different ways. Like this is a show about failure and how aspirations does not beget results. And to watch these people come back 15 years later and how they have dealt with. Some of them have fully embraced failure and they're like, yeah, Adam Scott's character always knew he would. So he's like, this is where I belong. And versus like Kyle, like watching them all wrestle with what life has given them. And it's an amazing group of fucking actors.
Ryan, Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
Stephen Root.
Yeah.
That guy that plays ass.
Yeah.
Who's the
I'm sorry, Greg.
the funniest part of the whole show, and so I should say his actual name, but I'm saying the guy that plays ass.
I feel like all 4 of those people are in the Pop Filter Hall of Fame. If not now, then soon.
Future Hall of Famers.
This is an absolute TV masterpiece. Party Down is a TV masterpiece in what we think about TV when we were kids. Like, this is a nonstop, holy shit, look at them go. It's just deadpan, nonstop. I will rewatch this over and over again and just see how they are constantly telling jokes. in this way where they will not tell jokes. They will not like play to the studio audience. Like a Party Down, I do think like close to The Simpsons maybe changed comedy in that like everyone started rewriting shows differently because the way that Party Down was. And this show came back in a way that a show that we might mention in McKenna's segment came back and did not like do what it did before. Party Down recaptured itself. But this other show, man, I don't know. What was it?
Barry.
I think that like Bill Hader might be our next Spielberg / David Lynch / Tarantino / he might like just be like the filmmaker of the next 20 years.
That's exciting to think about. Well, let's vote, Ryan. If after a statement like that, I find it very hard to imagine you're going to be like, and Party Down is moving on for me, Greg.
I wish that HBO Max was like, we'll make this Succession's year. And Barry, you can do something later. They did both finales on the same night, which is fucking nuts.
It was too much. That was a lot to handle.
Me and my wife bought like a whole giant charcuterie set and tissues for all of our crying, and we did. We bought white wine and white wine spritzers, so we had all of the white wine options. It's Barry. I love you, Adam Scott, and Lizzie Kaplan, who was just too busy.
Yeah.
More like Busy Kaplan.
Mike, you earned the next vote with that hilarious Busy Kaplan joke. Where are you going? What do you think? Is it Barry or Party Down?
I would not be who I am as a human being without Party Down. But if you remember 8 hours ago, I also tried to kick Party Down off this bracket entirely. So it's Barry for me.
Yeah.
He tried to kick it off for Batman the Animated Series, which is not a comedy.
It's a hilarious comedy of 2023. I don't know what you're talking about.
McKenna, Barry or Party Down?
Ryan put into words what I could not express earlier, that Barry is not like the comedy we expect, but they deliver jokes. They just do it in such a deadpan way, and it's beautiful. But I'm so glad this Party Down reboot happened because I never watched the original, and now I have seen the first 2 seasons and it was delightful. So more people should check it out. I hope more people like me who had never heard of it are checking it out as a result, but Barry gets my vote.
Also, like, if you're making something and it's a comedy, just throw Ken Marino in that bad boy.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think our bracket has made that case pretty definitively.
He has a giant wiener.
He's got a big old dong. Caitlin.
I'm going to go with Barry.
Barry with the clean sweep. Moving on at number 5. Our number 6 seed is I'm a Virgo up against our number 11 seed, Abbott Elementary. Mike, would
Yes.
you, or Ryan, did you watched I'm a Virgo, right?
I did.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about I'm a
fuck
Virgo.
me.
Where does it come from? Where does it go? Where does it come from? I'm a Virgo.
I'm a Virgo exploded out of, I'm going to say Amazon Prime or Hulu. Like a giant baby's head explodes out of a woman's vagina. We saw...
It is the communist anti-capitalist show that is on Amazon Prime.
Okay. We saw a woman, a sister-in-law, carrying out the biggest baby you've ever seen out of a hospital where the baby's mama exploded. And then now she has to raise a 9'12" baby.
Yeah, he's very tall.
And this is a superhero show. It's a comedy, like a sitcom. It's a like parody. It's a social, like let's hold a magnifying glass to society about everything, all wrapped into one. I can't believe how laugh out loud funny it is. And let's think about society at the same time, which usually is terrible, Greg. Usually when both those things interact, you're like, fuck this. This is stupid. And
it's Boots Riley who brought us Sorry to Bother You.
Right.
So if anybody can do it, it's Boots.
If you guys don't
It's
remember,
got that Boots Riley feel, right, Ryan? Like you could tell it's his imagination and his world.
right. And so everything's a little bit twisted up. So every burger has way more cheese on it. Every commercial has way more tits on it. Like everything is turned to 11 in the show, but not in a airplane, not in like a David Zucker way, in just like a slight Boots Riley way. And I really love the way that he does that.
And yeah, he makes so many interesting little choices that go beyond it being a comedy, just little world building choices. And also, Walter Goggins alert. This show features Walter Goggins.
As the I'm gonna say Ben Stiller. No, not Ben Stiller. As the what's the guy who did Tuck Soup?
Craig Kilborn.
No, Greg
John
Kinnear.
Dawson?
Greg Kinnear from
Kinnear in
Mystery
Mystery
Men
Men.
is Walter Goggins in this show.
Yes, the hero.
Books. Abbott Elementary is absolutely chock-a-block full of books. Did this make it one of your favorite shows?
I mean, with that pitch alone, absolutely. This show is like, among comedies, among all TV, it's such like a breath of fresh air kind of show. It does so. It's still. I don't know how to say this because I don't want it to sound like I'm insulting it because it's not dark or it's not, offering some of the same insights as our other comedies. But it just handles the comedy beautifully. It handles the teacher struggles, all of the issue. It really does. I have no idea where I'm trying to go with that
I have
statement.
heard real life teachers who are freaks watch this show and they know which teacher character they would be.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine a scenario if you were a teacher? Which of these teachers do you think you would be?
Oh, gosh, I feel like that's something other people have to assign for you. But you did make me think. I feel like Abbott Elementary is for teachers what Scrubs was for like medical
Yes,
professionals.
absolutely.
Like
It's
that
so
just,
real
you
to my
said
life.
That line. It offered that.
But no, I do agree with Greg, that like she cannot assign herself an Abbott Elementary teacher. We have to do it.
Okay, well, I think she'd definitely be Kinta Brunson, right?
I don't know. I was thinking, who's the older lady?
Oh,
Barbara?
really?
Yeah.
Well, that's the best answer you could possibly
Yeah,
get. 'cause
that's-
she's
that's
the best
such a
teacher,
compliment.
moral center of the entire show, really.
I was so prepared for Ryan to insult me right there.
I'm, of course, the
Yeah, I was
curly-
gonna say I'm looking at a room full of Jacobs, which
Yeah,
is what Greg was
yeah.
gonna say is, but you all are, you fuckers.
Yeah,
Wait, Jacob, the handsome thin guy?
The handsome thin guy who's a fucking tool bag.
beautiful curly hair.
He always wants to tell you about his tote bags in NPR.
And Mike, you are, of course, the Philly gangster monster who will threaten anybody with Philly threats.
By Brenzino.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I think it's time to get voting on this. So let's see. Books, I'm going to start with you. Is it I'm a Virgo at number 6 or Abbott Elementary at number 11?
This is a biased vote based off of what I enjoy and what catered towards me as working in education. Abbott Elementary gets my vote.
Abbott Elementary. Caitlin, what do you think? I'm a Virgo or Abbott Elementary?
I'm also going with Abbott Elementary.
Abbott Elementary. Mike, Virgo or Elementary?
Astrology is bullshit.
Duh.
And I love Abbott Elementary so much, but there's no TV show on right now with the vibe of I'm a Virgo, and that is my vote.
Dude, he talks about what characteristics he has from being a Virgo every single episode. It like really is one of the most important things to him.
Well, Virgos like
Yeah,
adventure.
he just
so-
keeps talking about the fact that he's a Virgo. It's like way more important to the show than the fact that he is a giant human being. All right. Ryan.
Have you guys ever been a Gemini? If you guys try that for a second, it is awful. It's all insults and terrible things are said about you. Like you're just a mean person because you're a Gemini and for no other reason. Greg, this is sort of like how TV works is that like Abbott has been delivering constantly for 3 years at an A pace, but
Yep.
I'm a Virgo is new and I have to go with I'm a Virgo.
Wow.
There's a reason why we literally never talk about Bob's Burgers, the show that's been consistently the
The
funniest
best show on
television
TV.
for 15 years, and we're just like, yeah, but we've seen it so many times. Well, that is a tie. That is 2-2. 2 for Abbott Elementary and 2 for I'm a Virgo. In moments like this, I have to imagine, what do most people want to hear us chat about? And if they listen to our show, it is probably I'm a Virgo. So I'm gonna tip it for I'm a Virgo beating Abbott Elementary, which to me feels like an upset, but that is I'm a Virgo at number 6, beating Abbott Elementary at number 11. So that is chalk, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to the next round is The Bear, The Other Two, Jury Duty, Reservation Dogs, The Curse, Beef, Barry, and I'm a Virgo. One of those is your 2023 Comedy of the Year, potentially your best thing of the year. And it's all in our queue coming up. When we come back, I pass the mic off to Books and Things Get Dramatic.
Albums are done. Comedies are done. We need to eliminate 8 dramas. Mac, are you ready for this?
I don't think anyone can be. This is the most dramatic thing we will ever do,
Dun,
Ryan.
dun, dun.
You are holding a drama mask in front of you and a comedy mask far away from you, as if to say you are not doing comedy right now.
I am not doing comedy. I'm actually about to throw the comedy mask out the window where it belongs because this is a drama-only pod at the moment.
Okay, let's do this.
We are here for the drama. And in order to completely embrace our drama, we got to cause some drama. We got to cause some upset. We got to make some people angry. And what better way to do that than to disagree with all of the critics and all of the experts who say these are the top 16 drama and put in our own that we think actually belong in the top 16. And then we get to cause even more drama by narrowing this 16 down to an 8. Has a more dramatic thing ever been done?
No,
Ryan?
this is it. Like Shakespeare was like, I'm doing my best, but it's not really going to happen until 2024 when they talk about 2023 TV dramas.
I love to think of Shakespeare thinking to himself, I'm doing my best.
just doing my best out here, stealing from Roman plays and making them new. All right, with that, we have some serious work to do. We have a few shows that we might want to change out. We have some voting. We've got some culling down this list. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, and I'm glad I have the best group of people to help. Some clarification. You've already heard Ryan. You know Greg's here too. Cassie is not on the show, but we've got Mike here, and he says he's gonna be Cassie for brief moments whenever he chooses.
Well, should we ask Mike?
Motherfuckers.
Why is Mike not going to be on the TV drama show?
It's I was told there was neither a hee nor a ha ha to be seen. And it was all very slow and boring and too mature for Mike to get by the board. So I opted out.
All right. Well, that's Mike's loss. Just because the hee-hees and ha-has are not the most prominent focus of dramas are still a superior TV art form. And I think they deserve the recognition, although maybe we need to make this list a little bit better. And by doing that, we are going to choose which dramas we might think are better in place for some of the dramas we have on this list. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. Do I share with the audience which dramas are up for?
Yeah, it's the
grabs and
bottom
being
4
replaced?
seeds, and then you roll those dice and see what order our 4 names come up.
Yep. I have rolled the dice. I know what order our names come up in. I am very, very excited to find out which dramas you will be replacing. And Ryan, drama loves you, I guess, because you did get the first pick.
But yeah, before you pick, what are the ones that we can remove?
What are the ones? Yeah, what can you choose from? Up for grabs as replacement is our number 16 seed, Telemarketers. Our number 13 seed, Blue Eye Samurai. Our number 15 seed, A Small Light. And our number 14 seed, Silo. Ryan, are you kicking any of these out? And if so, what are you replacing them with?
Oh, McKenna, I'm kicking one of these out. I do know that among the 4 of us, drama lovers, we have some Blue Eye Samurai fans.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if I kick it out now, somebody's going to save it. So I'm going to kick it out. And I'm going to put in the 2nd season of Perry Mason on HBO.
That's what Cassie would love too.
On that show are cars that go, and then there's some cars that go. Cassie loves both those sounds.
Both those things. That's a win for Ryan and for Cassie.
And kind of for Mike.
You know?
I guess.
Yeah, it's a very Mike forward pick.
It was awesome for Ryan and Cassie to pick one of my favorite shows.
Mike loves old school LA noir. He's the only one that loves it, and that's what we know about him.
Yep.
That's all we know. The only truth. All right, Ryan, thank you for your pick. Blue Eye Samurai, maybe you'll make it back in the bracket. Mike, you have a Cassie pick.
What I know about Cassie, she hates when things get muddy. And Telemarketers is muddy because it's a docuseries and not a scripted drama, and Cassie would hate that. So Telemarketers is getting booted. Another thing I know about Cassie, other than that she too likes LA Noir, is Cassie loves that I love Fargo. And she would want me to choose the newest season of Fargo that came out too late to be talked about by nearly anybody. But we have Juno Temple, we have John Hamm, we have the latest season of Fargo replacing Telemarketers.
Hey, Greg.
Fargo does something that we have not had to deal with yet, which is that show started in 2023. No problem there. The final episodes of this show aired in 2024.
Bum, bum, bum. So dramatic.
What a shame.
Also has won Pop Filter Drama of the Year before.
Yeah.
The inaugural Pop Filter Drama of the Year. Greg, Telemarketers, you watched it all.
Yes.
Is this even a drama? Is it a comedy? What is this?
It's a drama. I found it poorly made. They had kind of an interesting idea, but they're not documentarians. And so at one point, one of the guys says to the other guy in the documentary, I think he might be really bad at this. And it's kind of on top of everything else, you watch like this poorly put together documentary. It's interesting. It's about the people who call you for the Police Benevolent Association. They used to not be associated with the cops really at all. Now they're like kind of associated with the cops. Now it might be something like a cop racket kind of. And these two guys are like they wanna show what's really going on with these telemarketers. But it's mostly watching one guy be very annoying, and I think taking it off was a good way to go.
Is it art alongside Blue Eye Samurai?
Blue Eye Samurai is like 100 times better, I would say. Telemarketers is interesting because you're like, who are these people that call me who I don't like? I bet they're shysters, and they truly are, but it's kind of boring.
Well, I am glad to see Telemarketers go. Fargo is a well-deserved show on this spot. I don't know how long it'll remain. Mike did sack it up against Succession, our number one seed.
No, come on. Put it somewhere else, though.
Oh, come on.
But
Hey.
I am glad to see it on the board. The dice said I go next. Greg, this feels rude putting you last. I am sorry. But the dice are speaking.
Dice are the dice.
And you can change my pick, and that is absolutely okay. But I was introduced to a show thanks to Superhero Show just this year. Had never watched it before. Found it delightful. And I want it on. I found it. I will say I find it a bit more of a comedic drama than a drama, but I think that's what I enjoyed about it, and that was Doom Patrol. And I want it on here because I'm just still so delighted by this show. And you know what? I'm hosting this show. If everyone hates me for this, fuck off. I'm replacing Silo with Doom Patrol.
Oh, Silo. Set to the side, though.
All right. Greg, what are you going to add or take off of this bracket?
So you just put Doom Patrol where Silo was.
Yes.
Oh, very interesting.
And Ryan removed Blue Eyed Samurai, so your friends hate you, Greg.
One thing I'm noticing here, though, is there is a spot that some of these spots, if I replace them, I'm just replacing them for them to get spanked by something. But there's one spot that I feel like is a guaranteed ticket to the next round. And you know what? We need to embrace animation more on this show. And I honestly, we were going to have potentially another show that is animated, but I want to give us twice the possibilities to do that. And I think that there is not a better show to focus on than Blue-Eyed Samurai. So I'm going to take number 13 seed Blue-Eyed Samurai, and I am going to swap it out with number 13 seed Perry Mason.
What the fuck?
Which I believe is just a reversal of what Ryan did. I think this show needs to talk about Blue-Eye Samurai and see that animated properties can be just as engrossing, just as interesting.
McKenna, I have a point to make.
Point of order.
You can make your point. It probably won't change anything, but speak up, Ryan.
Greg saw my pick's opponent and then erased my pick and then chose his pick against that. I feel like that is a aggressive and out of order.
Welcome to drama. That's what happens.
I'm so happy because from now on, Ryan won't be like, and Mike hates me because he got rid of After Sun a year ago. Now it'll be Greg hates me because he got rid of Perry Mason.
Oh, no.
Perry Mason.
Greg watched that show and listened to everything I had to say about that show, as opposed to Mike saying, oh, what did he say? I just got done smoking my fucking reefer bong. I don't care what he said.
The one thing everybody knows about me, I love my reefer bong.
He loves his reefer bong. That's so true.
Can't
That's
stop.
so true. But I dare to keep things clean, and that's why I'm in the position I'm in. It had nothing to do with the fact that I have not seen any Perry Mason and that I've seen all of Blue-Eye Samurai, and it certainly had nothing to do with the fact that I feel like this is the rare opportunity to basically fast track one of our picks into the final round.
I like your
And that Greg
strategy.
hates brown-eyed samurais, right? Like he is.
Whoa.
That is what he's saying right now. That is what he's saying, I think.
Whoa.
Which is-
As far as samurai are concerned, I don't care the color of your eyes. You could maybe not even have eyes. You could be a blind
Whoa.
samurai, and I'm way into
Whereas
that.
I like all of
gotta
my
be a
Masons to be
samurai.
Perry.
Very biased on the Mason liking over there. Thank you, all of you, for your picks. That is all we will be able to change until we start voting. But I would love to give everyone a chance to mention some honorable mentions, some shows that we think should have made it on, but did not. Mike, I'm going to pass this off to you. I'm going to give you a chance to speak for both you and Cassie here.
Cassie would want me to talk about Heartstopper, another superhero show. Just a beautiful, delightful entry point into young British queer kids. And
That just
it is,
stops at the line of funny to still be a drama.
yes, especially this season where they added a lot of drama. Some people thought was a little overblown and not fitting with the show's tone. Mike would like to talk about once again The Great. The Great is one of the best shows nobody fucking watches, and the world needs to watch. The two leads, Nick Holt, we do love him. He plays a disturbing asshole so beautifully well. And then the younger Fanning, Elle Fanning, carries the show on her shoulders so well.
A better beast than Frasier?
Even a better beast than Frasier.
Hey, Mike, would you put The Great in comedy if we didn't care about episode lengths?
Yes.
You would. Okay.
But right now I'm talking about it in a drama because that's what it would have been.
Drama.
The-
I think The
is
Great will find
easily-
its time.
I'm sorry, would you say, Books?
I think The Great will find it. I feel like it's going to be one of those shows that 10 years from now, this new young generation is going to start watching it and they're going to be like, have you discovered? And they're going to do that annoying thing of thinking they've discovered the show, but they're also going to bring it the attention it
It'll be
deserves.
the happy endings of our generation.
All right. Thank you for those, Greg.
I'm Mike.
Thank you for those, Mike and
and
Cassie, for contributing to some honorable mentions. Greg,
Yes.
what shows do you think deserve talking about?
Honestly, I feel like a lot of the ones I was invested in got cycled in, and so I really like that. And the other one would be The Great. So I'm going to talk about a show that is certainly an honorable mention, meaning I don't think it should have been on the bracket, but I will honor it by mentioning it, which is Foundation, based on the Isaac Asimov books. And
Is that Netflix?
this show is very it is very ambitious in the scope of its sci-fi, and I think sometimes drops the ball on its human scope. But it's got Lee Pace in it.
hell
It's got a bunch of other really hot actors, and it is doing a good job interfacing with the Foundation books from back in the day, and it's changing things, I think, in interesting ways. But I don't think it belongs on the bracket. I think it belongs mentioned briefly in this segment, which is now terminating.
Thank you for that, Ryan. What are your honorable mentions?
I want to mention real quick Justified City Primeval, which is a sequel to a show that I love that doesn't belong on this at all. It was just dumb. I want to throw out a shout out to My Adventures with Superman, Superman and Lois, and Invincible that all could have been on here. They were just as good as these 16, but you know how these shows are. And then genre shows like Hijack, The Gold, Slow Horses. There's all these shows that like are these dad shows that like are not respected enough. For All Mankind, that just weren't like important enough, capital I important enough to be on this bracket.
Because they're on Apple TV.
Yes, because nobody watches it because it's $5.99 and people
them.
are like, that is too cheap for me, sir.
Wins a lot of awards, gets a lot of attention, and affordable. Can't do it. Sorry. Thank you for those. Invincible was also one of my contention picks. I think it was absolutely fantastic. I also want to bring up Warrior, which unfortunately just got canceled for the second time. But it's a pretty good show. I don't think it could replace any of these, but I do think it deserves a little more attention than it gets. Thank you for your picks. We're going to take the smallest of breaks, and when we return, we are going to get into our voting. And we're back, and we are here to do the most difficult part, the most dramatic part, and that's not replacing these. It's cutting out some dramas. If there's anything we don't want to do in our life, it's cut out drama, right? We live for the drama. We hate cutting it out.
Oh, sometimes when I cut out some drama, I'll start new drama.
Yeah, that's the cycle of true drama. That's the way to go about it. And we're going with our first seed, the very, very well-known, very well talked about Succession against our 16th seed, Mike and Cassie's pick, Fargo. Greg, can you tell us a little bit about Succession this season?
Succession, this is them wrapping things up. It's the season starts off. It's the kids versus the dad, and this is like sort of feels like what we've been waiting for the whole time. We're about to finally see some Succession. Am I right? And the season moves forward in its typical fast-paced, surprising, shocking way. I don't want to give any spoilers about it, but it gives you a lot of time to like think about what the show as a whole has been about. I think it's very reflective of the entire arc of the show, and as an avid watcher, that was really awesome. And it's probably the funniest show between the comedies and the dramas. Honestly, like only The Great might be a show that's as funny as some of the comedies, and I think that it is probably number one and going to go straight to the finals.
Yeah, it has the power to just keep on sweeping everyone it goes up against. It's one of those shows. Mike, you submitted this on behalf of you and Cassie. So I'm going to go to you first for an official vote. Fargo versus Succession.
I'm going to try to channel Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a bunch of rich white people are being rich and white and gross. Who wants to watch the Fargo rules? Cassie votes for Fargo.
Beautiful. Perfect. I honestly couldn't even tell she's not on the show right now. Thank you very much. One vote for Fargo. Ryan,
Fargo's
what are you
about the
voting
same
for?
Thing. Yeah, like it's really hard because with music and movies, like we have so many options, but with TV, like this year's really weird in that like I sort of think that we created a new like overall culture in that it is just Succession and The Bear. Like as far as like buzz and awards, I don't know about ratings, but like those are the things. Like the number one seeds have never been hotter than right now. Those two number one seeds. I don't know if they're going to be defeated. Like we have to talk to Cassie and Caitlin and see if they're like going to, you know, like blow darts, yeah, into like our Hindenburgs. But like right now, no, it's Succession.
All right. Greg, I have a feeling I know where you're going with this, but please tell me which one you are voting for now that I've kind of skipped over
I
you.
loved this season of Fargo a lot. I think it did a lot of interesting like updates of the Fargo ideas, and yet every scene you can like point to a scene in the actual movie Fargo and be like, this is kind of what that's a riff on. It like still is very much in contact with its source material, but Succession is like it feels like a once in a lifetime show, honestly, and it never slowed down even for a second. So I'm voting Succession.
And Succession moves forward to no one's surprise.
If we can, though, like Fargo's Juno Temple from Ted Lasso, who was like very like maybe 2 note, but mostly 1 note in Ted Lasso, like a revelation.
Yeah,
in
multi-note.
Fargo. Like she is incredible
Symphonic.
in this.
Full glockenspiel.
Fargo, we're sad to see you go, but you were up against something tough. Moving forward, Mike, I'm gonna ask you to step back from interpreting Cassie. You just did a little too well with Fargo.
Sure.
It's creeping me out. But if you want to speak up at any point as Mike, feel free to. I don't want you
hate
voting
being
as
Mike.
Cassie. I understand. Sorry to let you down. Got to keep moving forward, though. We have up next our number 8 seed, Scavenger's Reign, against our number 9 seed, Loki. Ryan, would you say this is our closest matchup yet?
I have heard such incredible things about Scavenger's Reign and have been about to watch it so many times, and it's on me, like, because I'm so nervous about, like, well, what if I don't get the animation, or what if I don't get the storytelling style? Like, that's on me. But Loki was not a good show, and everything I've heard about Scavenger's Reign is that, like, it's just simply awesome. And so I want to, like, Loki's dust here. Like, Loki has no position being in 9th place. So, like, I want to throw it to Greg. Like, how awesome is Scavenger's Reign?
I think it is as exciting a sci-fi property as we've had in like years. I feel like the way people talk about Prometheus, like how amazed they were by it, I don't quite connect with for having someone who,
Or like Annihilation?
This movie is a lot like Annihilation, or this show is a lot like Annihilation. What happens? It's like people on a spaceship. They are traveling in a huge convoy. One ship experiences problems and crashes on this planet, and the life forms on this planet are in some ways vaguely similar to life forms we have on Earth, but really honestly completely different. And these people are trying to deal with not knowing what any animal's going to do, and the animals are very imaginative and very freaky and very scary and very dangerous. And you watch these people kind of like go through this horror situation of every time they see a new creature, they have no idea how it's going to harm them. They're pretty sure it's going to harm them, but they're not sure how. Some like are telekinetic, some poison you, some take over your body, some clone you. And as the viewer, you also never know what to expect. And that feeling of being in a completely alien world, not like Star Trek, where it's a human with like a little bit of like makeup on or something like that. But what happens when things have completely different structures, completely different underlying logics to their biological being?
So it's like Annihilation in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Where you're still walking through being like,
Wow.
Yeah,
what?
And in fact, some of the life forms are weirdly suited to helping humans, and it's just you never know what's going to happen. You're always excited, and then it still manages to be an interpersonal drama at the end of the day.
And the cast is led by Alia Shawkat and Skylar Gazondo.
Yeah, which like it's so weird the way you can just sort of not notice that at first because it's you're so transported by this. The animation is beautiful. I feel like it's a little bit stronger in its depiction of the alien life than of humans. It's interesting the choice they made. The humans are rendered rather simply, and then the world and the alien life forms are rendered in a lot more detail. But the art style is gorgeous, and I'm very excited to potentially get to talk about it.
And if I can speak for Mike, like breaking from the chains of being on Superhero Show, and like you're not part of a cinematic universe, you just get to tell your story right now in this show.
Breath
How
of fresh air.
exciting is that?
It's so cool. It's so cool.
All right. Ryan gave his vote. Greg, I think we know
Scavenger's
where
Reign.
you're leaning as well. And your description was honestly so stunning. Loki was very underwhelming. I am surprised it made it to the 9th seed. Scavenger Reign gets all 3 votes. It sweeps in this category and will be moving forward. But now we have to go to our number 4 seed against our number 13 seed, and that is Dead Ringers against Greg's pick, Blue Eye Samurai. Ryan, you were the only one bold enough to embrace Dead Ringers as of right now. Share what that experience has been like.
Okay, so we have 6 panelists. 3 of us have kids. 2 of us have pushed kids through our body. This was 2 other of us have dog and cat kids.
I got a little cat, and I love her.
Yeah. And then Cassie has 2 giant dogs.
Yeah.
And I pushed a dog through my body.
Mike pushed a puppy up his butt and pooped him out.
I'm a mother too, god damn it.
This was fucking horrifying. Like this was it's not based, again, let me go through the math. It's not based on a David Cronenberg movie. This is based on the same book that a David Cronenberg movie is based on. But David Cronenberg movies are always based on body horror. And this takes place in an OBGYN room where things go right and it's horrifying. And things go wrong and it's double horrifying. And it kept me up at night. It was awful. In the place of that, Greg has put Blue Eye Samurai.
Woo.
So what if McKenna and Caitlin never watched Dead Ringers is what I would like to say.
Yeah. And Greg.
I think you're describing a very nice world, a very nice place. I do have to ask, you know drama. Do you think horror, this level of horror, is it truly a drama anymore?
I honestly, at the end of it, I didn't like it. I thought it did some cool things, but like at the end of it, like it was all about like there were so many characters that were constantly like, I'm bored by this. Oh, what is that? Like, oh, the little baby fell through your fingers and then hit the floor. I'm bored by that. I'm Nicole Richie. I'm Nicole Richie from 2007, but now I'm in 2023. Like all the characters were so awful. It was terrible to watch. And I tried to get something from it. And what I can say from it, absolutely, is that Rachel Weisz is one of our greatest actresses. Like, she should be up there with our, what's her name from Maestro?
Bradley Cooper.
Michelle Williams.
No, Michelle Williams and from Maestro. Mike, what'd you say?
I said Bradley Cooper.
No, actress. Next to her. From Promising Young Woman.
Young Woman, that one.
Oh, Carey Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan. Rachel Weisz is one of our best actresses, but yet this is a tiring, awful experience that does not give you enough. I'm saying this anime where a blue-eyed samurai cuts through people might be it, guys. Let's do that one.
You know what? A Blue Eye Samurai out seeking revenge and finding her destiny, much more delightful, even in the drama sense, than
You know what, Mac? You're the
than
host. Just
this.
move it on.
Yeah.
Just
All
do
right. Blue Eye Samurai. I know Greg's going to vote for this. I know Ryan has. That is moving forward. Goodbye, Dead Ringers. I don't think anyone is sad to see you go. All right. Let's move on to our number 2 seed, The Last of Us. And that's going up against our number 15 seed, A Small Light. The Last of Us is one of the few shows everyone has watched, which is impressive. It's absolutely gutting. But A Small Light, I think, has not gotten quite our attention.
Follows the remarkable story of Miep Gies,
Geis.
a Dutch woman who risked her life to shelter Anne Frank's family from the Nazis for more than 2 years during World War II.
Yeah, and kind of I mean, I feel like whenever we all covered in school the Diary of Anne Frank and gone over it, we all knew that she was this hero, but I feel like this is the first time she's really getting her like highlight.
Do we think
which
that
is it's well deserved. It's a docuseries. I don't think it's very long either. So that's going up against The Last of Us, which is just a difficult bracket, wouldn't you say, Greg?
Yeah, in this year, it's hard to imagine like a drama that had more like universal acclaim, like a new drama that had more universal acclaim. Every episode felt like an event. It felt like a slightly different take on what was going on. And then, of course, had the classic episode that basically like featured a gay relationship's like entire, like its origin all the way through its its conclusion. And it felt like you.
And then I think that we had the other one where she and her went to the mall and then turned the lights on. So like there was two, like in your season now you have to have two outside the story episodes.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and just like was upsetting in a lot of ways, but very interesting, very intriguing, and another one of these apocalyptic stories that very much centers like the human drama inherent in the sudden like shift in the world.
Mm-hmm. If society changes, how do people react?
Yeah, and
Mike?
usually it's like everybody, like in this world, everybody breaks pretty hard fash. Like everyone gets super fascist and super awful towards each other. But I like the way I've described it. I would think people listening that haven't seen it would think, well, there's no room left in that space, right? But there is. This show finds like fresh ground to till in the like being afraid of people during the zombie apocalypse space.
It
Yeah,
also
a great-
doesn't
a
try
great
too
thing-
hard. So sorry. It doesn't try hard to be new. It just does everything very, very well. Mike, what were you going to say?
Versus like other mainstays in the genre of zombie TV shows, it cared about its characters as humans
Yeah.
and made them interesting and nuanced, and was a good old time to watch. Not a boring, everybody's gray.
So not like the Walking Dead
One
TV
note.
show?
No, it's The Walking Dead. Fuck The Walking Dead is what I'm saying.
All right. Greg, what's your vote?
I do feel a little bad that like this show based on a video game, based on a like fake apocalypse, is absolutely smoking this woman who risked and I think lost her life in this attempt. Like, but The Last of Us was a bigger show certainly this year and had more of an impression on me, so I'm going with The Last of Us.
If this woman had wrote in her diary, if you make a video game about me, do this, then it probably would have come better for her.
Or if the show had dealt with whether or not, finally, definitively, and Frank was a believer, maybe we would be voting for A Small Light.
All right. Ryan, what are you voting for?
I played The Last of Us video game after I watched the show.
Oh.
And I was like, man, that show stole a lot of that video game. I'm going to go with The Last of Us, but like, guys, don't start thinking this show has drama of the year capabilities, because I will not let that happen. But I'm going with The Last of Us.
All right. Ryan has spoken. He has his doubts, but he's still pushing forward The Last of Us. It also gets my vote. I do think it's no discredit to A Small Light or Meep Geese's story. It's just not the right time for that, not right category for that to move forward. We're going to take the smallest of breaks, and when we return, our final four battles. We are back, and we have our final four battles to get this down to a small, compact, nice, and breathable list of 8. Up next, we have a show that we have all seen, and we have some strong ideas about, against a show that only a few of us have seen, and hopefully still have some strong opinions about. That is our number 7 seed, Gen V.
Nope,
up against our
out,
number
out, get, fuck, out, get.
strong opinions. As I prefaced, I warned everyone. That goes up against our number 10 seed, A Murder at the End of the World. Greg,
Yes.
you have seen A Murder at the End of the World.
Yes.
Can it take down Gen V?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think it could. I don't think there's like a ton of programs it could take down. But imagine you are about to board your flight and you're like, "Oh my God, I have nothing to do on this flight. I'm gonna get one of those airport books people have been talking about." This show is one of those airport books in all the good and all the bad ways. Sometimes Murder at the End of the World, you're just like, this is such a TV show but it is kind of interesting, has kind of interesting ideas, has some interesting performances. It stars one of the voice actors that I really like, Edward Baldini, I think his name is. It's cool, it's interesting, it's better than Gen V, a show that is like not very popular
Back.
around these parts.
Around these parts. All right. And can I take that as your vote?
Yes, you
Murder
may.
at the end. All right. Thank you, Greg. Ryan, it's true mystery. Which way you're going to lean with this?
Nobody knows. It's an airport book mystery, but like with Murder at the End of the World, I've been waiting for like a time where like I didn't have a kid at 4 p.m. so we could. And I don't like to binge through shows, but like bust through all episodes. Like I just want to get through it. I want to juggernaut through it all.
I do think it has that quality where you're like, that's very possible, and you're drawn to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And not think about like, is this good? Is the production design good? Is that this third tertiary actor good? No, I just want to like get to the story. But no, Gen V is like I think a bad show. So I'm gonna go through, and I think that A Murder at the End of the World at the start of 2022 was supposed to be a big deal. I don't think it was that. I think it was sort of like a back
Fell
burner,
off the
but
hype.
yeah. But still, that one.
I am very glad to say Gen V will not be moving forward, and the drama brackets, A Murder at the End of the World, does go forward. None of us are sad to see that go, even if it got beat by the okayest of the dramas that we have here. Up next, we've got our number 3 seed, Poker Face, delightful drama, against my pick, number 14 seed, Doom Patrol. I have a bit of bias here, but Ryan, what are your thoughts about this bracket, these two shows?
Again, I want to see our replacements go into the Elite Eight, but Poker Face is so good. It's so delightful. Every episode is amazing, and the fact that you don't have to like go from the beginning, that you could sort of start from whenever. I don't know, man. It sort of like makes me wish, or makes me miss old TV. And it's
Ryan Johnson's back.
Natasha Lyonne, and like she's lovely. When
We
she's
fell
not
in
on
love
Old
with-
Navy
with,
commercials stealing wagons, she'll just like pop up on commercials being like, "I stole all these clothes, bitches," and then run away. She's awesome. It's Poker Face for me.
Absolutely. Greg, how are you voting?
It's a shame because the thing I want to first say about Poker Face is like, Poker Face is proof you can do a new thing. It's at first you're like, oh, it's a murder mystery show, but they show you who done it and how they done it, and then you watch somebody figure it out. But you already know the dramatic irony is wonderful. But it's hard to say about any show going up against Doom Patrol that it's like wacky and different, because Doom Patrol is like the postmodern show based on the postmodern comic, and still has a lot of heart. But I don't know. Poker Face is something I think kind of special. It's the number 3 seed, and it probably should be, but I don't know. In another year, it might have been the number 1 seed. So I'm going Poker Face.
Yeah, Doom
Also,
Patrol-
with Doom Patrol, I think you could see the exhaust in the last season. Like you could see that.
It happened in the comic too.
Yeah.
It's like there's just once you've pushed the envelope for 3 years, it's pretty far away already.
What are we, a team? We're not a team. Okay.
It's a pretty good Brandon Fraser, dude.
I will say Doom Patrol seems very fresh when you only dive into the final season.
Sure.
That's a great way to
Sure.
look at it. It's fun. It's wacky. Even diving into only the 4th season, though, I will say there are moments in that season where it doesn't quite stick the landing on every single thing it tries. That is its downfall. It's still delightful. I still think it belongs.
And it
on
made the
our
Sweet
list.
16.
It made
Yeah.
it did it. It made the Sweet 16, and I'm so happy for it. Poker Face, however, keeps up your intrigue even while spoiling what should be the big reveal, and that is such a tricky thing to do. That will be moving forward. Next, we have our number 5 seed, Fall of the House of Usher, against our number 12 seed, Star Trek Strange New World. Fall of the House of Usher is created by the same creators who did Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, it's Mike Flanagan and his merry cast of actors. Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor. What was the vampire one? What was that called?
Vampires of
Ooh.
Vampire House.
Murder at Mystery Island.
Midnight
he did
Mass.
Midnight Mass. Thank you.
Midnight
He did
Mass.
Hush before that. If you have listeners haven't seen Hush, go fucking watch that. He is the heart of like modern mainstream horror, and he's awesome.
But Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds stars my best friend Jesse James Keitel, and she's kick-ass and one of the coolest, newest Star Trek villains.
Strange New Worlds is so fun. It's a little bit. It reminds me a little bit of Poker Face in that it does have an overarching story, but it's heavily episodic. Like if you just tuned into any one episode, you'd find it very fulfilling. If you like Star Trek, you'll like it. If you like new Star Trek, you'll like it. It does a good job of bridging the gaps. It's fun. It's swashbuckling. Everybody's hot in it, and it gives you it gives you a good old time at the TV.
Hey, Greg, I hate Star Trek and I hate hot people. What should I watch?
Picard.
I'm gonna
Lower
watch Picard.
Decks.
Yeah, Lower Decks. This season of Stranger Worlds, they do a crossover with Lower Decks, and you get to see the animated voice actors, and you're like, oh,
Tawny
yeah.
Newsome and Jack Quaid are both in it, right?
Yeah, like, oh, I know this guy.
Greg, I have a feeling this one's going to be a tougher battle for you than for others, which is why I'm going to put you on the spot and make you go to a vote first.
I love the idea of like weaving together basically all of Edgar Allan Poe into one narrative. It looks scary as shit though, whereas Edgar Allan Poe tends to be creepy. This show looks scary as shit. Star Trek Strange New Worlds has the Enterprise in it. I'm going to go Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Different kinds of drama for different kinds of people. Thank you, Greg. Ryan, what's your vote?
I'm gonna go. So I don't like either of these franchises, but I think I like the Flanagan franchise more. I'm gonna go Fall of the House of the Usher.
I think it's the haunting of the fall of the House of Usher.
The haunting of the yeah.
Or the fall of the haunting of House of
In
Usher.
Venice.
In Venice.
Thank you. You've both created a nice, lovely tie for me to break, and I normally don't like the spooky. You know what? No, I take that back. Since becoming a parent, horror has not been my favorite genre to engage with. However, I did really enjoy Haunting of Hill House. I think it's one of my favorite horror shows of the recent time, and I'm going off of that to hope that it gets me through. I feel like I'm going to regret this, but Fall of the House of Usher is going to move forward and get my vote. Our final bracket, we see Happy Valley, our sixth seed, go up against The Diplomat, which is our number 11 seed.
All right, Matt, can I tell you a story real quick?
Yeah.
Happy Valley is a British show.
Mm-hmm.
This is the fourth and final season. And the third season has been bumping up against the bracket for 3 years and has never made it. And now it is the 6th seed.
Speaks
I
to
don't-
the
has anybody watched it?
spectacularness.
It's on AMC Plus. That is like that's the same thing as
Least
just like putting it in a vault and locking
Yeah.
the door. Like,
It's like-
AMC Plus, what?
It's on like Nike shoebox. Like, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Now coming
It
to
is a-
Microsoft Zune.
British show, I get it being like not as accessible,
like,
but still.
I think it's like their Law and Order. 4th season, final season.
Also, 4th season for a British show means it's like one of the longest running shows of all time.
Do you know how many Christmas specials that is, Greg?
8?
It's probably 8.
Gotta have
Because
one
they
at
also
the
do
start, one at
Christmas
the
and July
end.
specials.
So
Well, you start with Christmas of the previous year. You begin with
Yeah.
Christmas of the next year, and then you just somehow revisit Christmas, but with new
And
stories.
you've got to do Michaelmas, right?
But like once you get into the bracket, I want to watch the whole thing. So like I want to start from Happy Valley season episode 1. It's
Well, luckily, they're each going to be 2.5 episodes a season.
right.
But those episodes are 8 hours long each.
Plus 9 Christmas specials every season.
And
Every season.
you will be confused if you don't watch all
And
those
I don't know if
Christmas
it's
specials.
like what
Half
I don't
the
know if it's like comedy. Like what if they're like laughing about dead bodies? I don't know if it's super dark. Like what if it's like look at the spiders that all climbed into their eyes. And McKenna, what is it going against?
It's going against The Diplomat, which is it follows a career diplomat, Kate Weiler. She lands like a high-profile job. She's not quite fit for this high-profile job, and it starts to threaten to collapse both her political career.
Borderline comedy.
her
Kate
relationship.
Weiler is Carrie Russell.
Russell.
Gary
of
Russell,
the Americans
yes.
fame.
Curly
And
hair.
she's named the diplomat for England, and her husband has been an ambassador before her, and she doesn't know it, but the audience, finds out early on that she's being like sort of groomed to be potentially the vice president.
Is this the plot for King Ralph starring John Goodman?
And to me, as someone who didn't watch much of The West Wing, it did give me West Wing vibes still, where it's like you're watching it and you're like, well, I know that this isn't actually 100% how government works, but I know that this is like the dramatic equivalent
You
to
got-
how.
Do you guys remember
government
when
work.
Emily in Paris came out and everybody's like, "Are you watching Emily in Paris?" And they all just like shook their shoulders together
It would
and
just
like,
shimmy a lot,
yeah, and they would like
yeah.
love each other. That's what happened when The Diplomat came out. We could watch
But
that.
I do think they're doing a lot of interesting things with it. It feels a little light to me, but it was available on on one of the streaming services I have, so I liked that.
Not on AMC Plus, which is
And Carrie Russell is hot and has the best taste in men because her taste in men is Perry Mason. What's that guy's name? Matthew Reese.
Yeah.
That guy cannot pronounce a single word. But it's so enjoyable. He is always like a fucking leprechaun.
Matthew Reese?
Yes. He's very Welsh.
Yeah, he's like as Welsh as it gets, and when that accent, like you can only kind of like deal with that accent. It cannot be suppressed.
Like you have to put like
you manage it.
you have to put like a face guard on because the Welsh will get onto your face.
Remember McNulty from The Wire, where you're like, "What's
Mhm.
up with this guy? He's Welsh.
No, he's just drunk.
He's
thought.
just battling
is
that
the
Welsh accent."
All
Just
Welsh
wrestling
people, I
with
think,
it.
are also always drunk. I think that's true for both.
And then on
All
the Wire,
right.
they would say cut, and McNulty would be like, hot, 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 hot. I don't know what
Ryan,
to do here.
I'm going to throw you to a vote to help you with the situation of not knowing what to do.
McKenna, I know how TV works. I'm not going 4 seasons deep in a fucking British show. I'm going The Diplomat. That is my vote. With Carrie Russell,
All right.
with her curly hair. Do you know how beautiful curly hair is? It's The Diplomat.
So beautiful.
So beautiful. All right, Greg, what are we voting for? The Accessible Show?
Yeah, I'm interested to watch Diplomat with all of us having seen it, especially some of us who are into The West Wing, because I'd like to see if other people agree that it has those vibes. So I'm the Diplomat.
How much walking and talking
A
happens
fair bit.
simultaneously?
They'll be like walking from the like ambassador's suite.
But
to
now-
like a
Now,
car.
Greg is saying a fair bit, and that sounds like a line from Happy Valley.
Yeah,
It does
a fair
sound a
bit.
bit British.
That's describing
A
like
bit
how many
walking,
bodies
yeah.
are there?
They do
A
take
fair
place
bit.
in England. Diplomat to London. So, I mean, it's a crossover. We're getting a little bit
Crossover.
of both.
What show did you watch
I-
last night? The Diplomat. Hello, governor.
Happy Valley, we are sorry to see you go, but maybe if you had made it in sooner than your 4th season, we would give you a chance. Unfortunately, that's not how we vote. That is our final bracket. And we should go over everything that is moving forward. We have our number 1 seed, Succession, moving forward. Scavenger's Reign, Blue Eye Samurai, The Last of Us, A Murder at the End of the World, Poker Face, The Fall of the House of Usher, and The Diplomat, all moving forward into our final 8
Some of those shows
For-
are fucked.
TV comedy of or TV drama of the year. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some strong opinions on this, which is why you should definitely tune in to our full show where we'll get into all of the details, why we love some of these, why we hate some of these, bring out some surprises as well.
Did we talk about honorable mentions? Because Caitlin was not here, and we didn't talk about Ashoka or Mandalorian.
Oh wow,
Wow.
yeah, like nobody even said those words.
Oh
Like,
darn! I can't believe there wasn't time to talk about those. I think this episode has to wrap.
I feel like Greg or Mike, if you were to channel Cassie, she might have some opinions, but I banned you from doing that, so that's
Yeah.
on me.
You told me I wasn't
I-
allowed to, so now
I
I'm
was-
channeling Mike.
No,
Let's
where's
get the
Mike?
fuck
Where's
outta here.
if Cassie could talk? Would she bring up the Beckham documentary on Netflix?
Oh yeah, he goes vroom vroom zoom zoom. Probably she loves him.
That's I guess that's all, McKenna.
I guess that's it. Cassie is not one of many words today, and that's perfectly fine. But we have selected our top dramas, and you will have to tune in when that episode comes out, which honestly, I don't quite remember when that is. Ryan, can you take over? Tell our listeners when they can find out.
Oh fuck yeah!
I guess when this show will be released and when.
We will
they'll
decide
get the
our TV drama and it will be published on March 14th, which is insane. Absolutely insane. But no, that is when it will be released to you people.
Great work takes time. We thank you for your patience.
We have to watch all those episodes. We have to watch like, hey, Carrie Russell, how many times are you going to be the diplomat tonight?
A lot.
It's a lot.
Isn't it true that next week people will be hearing about all the movies they'll be hearing about in 8 months from now. And then after that, we'll finally actually start talking about these things after we talk about what we're going to talk about when we talk about what we talk about.
What an
True
outro.
podcast fashion.
Mac, you have to fucking land the plane after that outro.
You have to land the plane, you stupid
Oh,
son
my
of a bitch.
goodness.
You're hosting the show.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is not my job. I passed it off to you twice, asshole.
For Mike, for Greg, for McKenna, for Cassie, for Caitlin, I'm Ryan. I just want to say thank you